Self-discipline. How you can overcome any weakness and develop mental toughness. Understanding the secrets of training for sports and how to build daily self-discipline habits and skills for life. Written by Marin, Tracy. Narrated by J. Dice. Foreword. If you've always wanted to build an iron-like will and resolute self-control but can't stay on track with even the simplest of personal resolutions, then keep listening. Are you sick and tired of making a promise or a decision to yourself that could potentially change your life but struggle to follow through? Are you tired of having a complete lack of self-restraint and get easily distracted and sidetracked by temptations? Have you tried everything under the sun to improve your willpower and self-discipline, but nothing seems to work out for you, or you simply run out of willpower before you can see results? Do you finally want to stop sacrificing your future for the short-term pleasures of the present and learn the secrets of mental toughness and tenacity? If you've answered yes to any of the above questions, then you've come to the right place. You see, self-discipline and mental toughness can mean the difference between accomplishment and mediocrity. But developing these vital virtues doesn't have to be difficult. In fact, it's easier than you think. You'll see. Self-discipline and mental toughness are even more important than natural talent. As long as you're naturally inclined towards a certain endeavor, self-discipline will always carry you further than natural talent ever will. But you don't have to take my word for it. A study in psychological science demonstrated why self-discipline is a better predictor of success than natural talent. Another report from the British Journal of Health Psychology has shown that willpower and self-discipline are like muscles and can be trained by the methods you're going to learn in this book. You can get powerful results from the exercises and techniques outlined in this guide without having to sacrifice a lot of time or willpower in the process. Here's just a tiny fraction of what you're going to discover while you're listening. 6 dangerous myths about mental toughness and self-discipline being fed to you by pop psychologists and how they are fatal to your chances at success. 6 crucial features of mental toughness you need to know. The 4 simple ways to eliminate weaknesses using mental toughness. The 13 mistakes mentally tough people never do. You can double or even triple your results overnight with these tips. 8 exclusive traits of mentally tough athletes and how you can apply these to dramatically increase your own success. The remarkable discovery between mental toughness and emotional intelligence and the 10 easy ways to develop EI. 5 bulletproof ways to track your goals and measure your progress. The quick 12-point checklist to ensure you stay on track towards your goal, and much, much more. Imagine how your life would change once you know how to set a goal and stick with a plan to achieve that goal. Imagine the boost to your confidence and self-esteem when you finally achieve that goal. Sounds great, right? It doesn't matter if your self-discipline is in shambles right now. It doesn't matter if you have the willpower of an addict. Whether you're an athlete, a businessman or woman, an entrepreneur, in the military, or a crisis responder, you can achieve self-discipline and rock-solid mental toughness with the strategies and techniques highlighted in this book. If you have a burning desire to change your life with the power of self-discipline, then download now to keep listening. Introduction. First, thank you for trusting me to help you. I sincerely hope you enjoy this audiobook. The only thing I ask is that if you do enjoy the book or it helps you in any way, that you please leave a review after listening. Now, let's get into what you want to hear. I've had the opportunity to compete, coach, be coached, and be watched by world-class people since I was a very young age. I am fascinated with what becoming a champion requires. I've had dreams and fallen short. However, I've also had dreams and hit them out of the park. In both situations, deep down inside of me, I knew I had the talent to make the dreams a reality, and I knew that the missing link when I didn't capture the dream was purely mental. This understanding encouraged me to uncover the mental toughness secrets of champions. I spent months conducting interviews with top athletes, reading their books, watching their videos, and studying everything I could lay my hands on in regard to the psychology of peak performance. If implemented, the ideas in this book will change your life. It isn't magic, however, and it won't happen overnight. The ideas herein are simply practical thought processes, philosophies, and habits drawn from the best athletes in the world. This book doesn't contain any theories, but it is loaded with ideas and concepts you can implement immediately. All of the secrets come directly from the street of experience, either mine or those I learned through my research. While some concepts will be familiar, some will be new, and they all have the power to boost your results no matter how high you are flying right now. As a matter of fact, only world-class people get the most value out of mental toughness suggestions because they are always trying to gain an edge and get better. This mindset is one reason I think so highly of them. Nothing has been held back in this book. Of course, we're all equals as humans. No, average people, just average performers getting some average results. However, the terms used in this book are to get your attention and make you ask the question, how have I fared? You should know that after many years, my development of mental toughness is still a work in progress, but I've gotten tougher and my dreams have gotten bigger. This book espouses wisdom on everything you need to know most about mental toughness. The beautiful thing is that mental toughness is a skill that can be learned and acquired, and the tougher you get, the bigger your dreams will get, and the more fun you will have overcoming situations in order to fulfill them. Chapter 1. What is mental toughness? In sports psychology, mental toughness is a commonly used term that has existed for a long time. Mental toughness is an individual's capacity to handle stress, manage situations, and overcome challenges that hinder a successful life or cause poor performance on a set task or goal. Scholarly definition of mental toughness. The Journal of Applied Sports Psychology defines mental toughness in the following way. It is having the innate or learned psychological advantage that enables you to endure better than your opponents, with a lot of trainings that place a demand on you in competitions, training, lifestyle, and so on, especially in the area of being more dogged and excellent than your antagonists in zeal, focus, boldness, and having self-control under pressure. The core distinctions of mental toughness. Mental toughness is the most vital skill needed in order to excel and do well in all aspects of life. Individuals who have this skill by practice and training do well in their personal lives and also climb higher on the ladder of business, sports, entertainment, and so on. The major features of mental toughness are outlined below. Winner's mentality. This mindset distinguishes winners from losers. Performers have a strong mental picture of success and working toward achieving their maximum output on a consistent basis. Their technical astuteness in training is concrete, and it portrays doggedness. They have an intense level of self-motivation. Extreme focus. Extreme focus could also be called being in the zone. Extreme focus is skillfulness in executing at the best and optimal level of performance in every circumstance with little or no amount of distraction, absolute mental clarity, and ease of mind. Stress management. A person who is proficient in stress management can effectively use a stressful work atmosphere to increase concentration and enhance productivity. Stress management involves the ability to skillfully handle stress and pressure while performing a task without undue mental pressure, fear, or anxiety. The performer is not bothered by fear or worries and can perform at the highest level of productivity. Failing forward. The ability to provide definite information about incompetency to achieve the desired results that a performer sets his heart to accomplish. The ability to draw vital lessons and value from failure to perform so as to channel it into the next performance and be promoted to the next ranking. Breaking limits. The ability to draw out maximum physical effort while experiencing pain, mental duress, and physical stress is referred to as breaking limits. Constant readiness. Constant readiness is planning that allows the performer to be ready with a substitute plan in case of predictable issues, unforeseen events, or unpredictable situations prior to a performance or during a performance. The performer is therefore mentally ready for any situation that arises and can remain calm and perform optimally regardless of the situation. In case the performance results in a downfall in execution, constant readiness prepares the mind of the executor prior to this event. This distinction helps one fully recover and finish the job at hand without going back on the performance as the basis for failure or loss, particularly before the loss is announced by an external investigator. Who should learn mental toughness? Mental toughness benefits any individual with the desire to pursue excellence and produce high-quality results in performance-based conditions, particularly in entrepreneurship, music and entertainment, competitive sports, and labor-intensive jobs. Marketers and professional businessmen and women. In customer relations with clients, mental toughness is an essential skill for sales representatives and executive directors of businesses. It helps them effectively manage harmful emotions, improve the working conditions, and speed up the learning process. Athletes. A large number of athletes use mental toughness to enhance their performance. In fact, the skill was primarily developed for athletes and has been utilized by a series of high-class ones. Even upcoming athletes use this skill. Mental toughness gives them a competitive edge in their games. CrossFit competitors, racers, figure skaters, and gymnasts can all benefit. Military officers and soldiers. Every branch of the armed forces, Air Force, Army, Navy, Coast Guard, and National Guard, must develop in its soldiers the ability to stay strong under stress and difficult conditions. Mental focus and alertness are vital for military officers because a minute of distraction can cause havoc and increase the danger. In order for them to carry out their duties in a competent manner, a high level of mental toughness is required. Entrepreneurs. The art of building a brand or a business takes a lot of mental energy and vigor. Mental toughness enables the entrepreneur to effectively manage stress as she goes through the tedious process of building her business from ground zero to a well-established venture. Performing artists. Stage, film, and TV entertainers, including performers, on-screen characters, and artists, can build an edge over an exceedingly focused field by using the qualifications of mental toughness in their craft. Mental toughness lets them try out with extraordinary concentration and tranquility. They trust in themselves, recoup when they come up short, perform in the zone when required, plan for any outcome, and still convey the execution they realize they are prepared to do. Crisis responders. Life and death circumstances require a high level of mental toughness. Mental toughness enables firemen, paramedics, ER doctors, and police officers to carry out their duties effectively and with a great degree of competence, even in the midst of a highly stressful work environment. Medical workers. Doctors, nurses, emergency staff, and all other medical officials work in a highly stressful environment, often in situations of life or death. It is for this reason that they benefit from mental toughness. Consistent training helps them perform at an effective level, and they create results that largely help other people and themselves. Restorative workers. Mental toughness helps for apt delivery of work duties for workers such as doctors, nurses, air traffic directors, and security staff who work in a stress-related environment. Their mental strength enables them to perform at an optimal degree. Parents. Mental toughness can also be used effectively by parents in raising their children. It helps them raise children who can deal with difficult situations and handle pressure as they grow. Advantages of mental toughness. Mental toughness is something that can be cultivated or learned over a period of time. It is not an innate characteristic. The society in which we live also plays a key role in the development of our mental capabilities. It is a highly important skill because it helps us pull through tough times and situations. The advantages of mental strength include the following: consistency and successful living. Consistency is necessary if we're going to follow through on anything to the end, whether it be in our careers or relationships. Moreover, starting in a good place with adequate planning and consistent efforts can be very difficult. The biggest ventures and businesses can acquire losses if they do not have continuity and commitment. Mental strength ensures consistency and success in every aspect of life, be it in sports, entrepreneurship, relationships, or business. Mental strength helps pull through difficulties and hard times. Individuals with little or no mental vigor fail and give up easily when challenges and situations do not go well. It is unusually difficult for such people to pull themselves together and plunge ahead. It is really important for you to have sound mental strength, as it will help you scale through adverse conditions and perform at your highest peak, even on your down days. It is quite easy for individuals who are mentally agile to rise quickly above problems, failures, disappointments, and challenges. Mental strength inspires you daily. Everyone needs inspiration and motivation to keep moving ahead in different areas of life. A sound mental energy keeps us disciplined in setting our goals and in accomplishing those goals even on our dark days when we don't feel like anything is working. Mental strength aids in controlling your emotions. It would be a daily struggle in fighting against enticement and in taking intelligent risks if you did not know how to regulate your emotions. Life is constantly filled with good and bad times, so in order to make clear-headed decisions to succeed, mental strength is an essential key to regulate your emotions. Mental strength aids in taking the appropriate steps under pressure. Mental strength and alertness enable an individual to maintain composure in good times and, most especially, in bad times. A continual state of mental strength enables you to make the right decisions under pressure. Therefore, mental strength is both vital and profitable. Mental strength helps you accomplish your dreams and desires. Desire is a core ingredient for success in life. In fact, it could be essential to the main skill you have. A popular adage goes thus: desire is the fuel for passion. If you lack desire, you won't achieve anything worthwhile. Having a strong will to excel aids in accomplishing your set goals, dreams, and desires. Having mental strength helps you accomplish your desires and achieve all your goals and dreams. There's a great quote that says, Some people are born winners, while others become winners because of their strong will and determination. Overcoming weaknesses through mental toughness. We all have shortcomings, and regardless of how excellent a person might be, he probably has an Achilles heel. You can often tell a player's most exceedingly bad shortcoming because it is the zone he least likes to prepare. However, wiping out restrictions will lead people to the greatest gains in their preparation. Beating shortcomings is overall an individual issue of mental toughness. It depends on the theory of unavoidable losses, one of the least difficult games brain research points to comprehend. It expresses that the better you get, the harder it is to show signs of improvement. Thus, more exertion is expected to accomplish little upgrades. On the other hand, you have to overcome your shortcomings, and the goal should be where you center your preparation. Removing weaknesses is a major concern that leads to shortcomings. Removing weaknesses should be a major focal point of your preparation. Here are a few stages to help. Single out your most significant weakness. When you are absolutely true to yourself, you will recognize your significant area of weakness. It might be in the aspect of training that you loathe the most or in a task you dislike doing. However, even if it is not your most significant weakness, it would still be of great help for you to scale over this challenge. Change your vision. The way we see life varies on different aspects and situations. When I was a cyclist, I loathed any idea of riding through the hills, but I liked trails a lot. I thought perhaps I wasn't made for the hills because of my heavy stature. Cyclist Bradley Wiggins spoke about how he handles his hills and trail times. When I heard his statement, it completely changed my view and thought pattern about them. So, before you become aggressive about your weaknesses, you need to look through a different lens. A perspective totally different from mine helped me see the possibility of riding smoothly on both hills and trails. I just enjoy the hills less. See curing weakness as another important challenge. Give the challenge your best shot. Attack it with passion and enthusiasm. Overcoming a weakness can be equivalent to taking on a big competitor because athletes are generally enthusiastic about challenges. Passion drives you from a point of, I can't do this today, to, oh great, hills today. Speak these positive words to yourself, and in no time you will begin to believe them. You might not necessarily learn to love it. Simply love the benefits that you accrue from it. Hit it hard. Constantly motivate yourself to be more dogged and consistent in your training. Let nothing deter you from pushing strong and hard. Commitment is a major key in your training and in dealing with your weak points. When you eventually realize that your most significant weakness has become a strength, you will then have more wins than losses. Chapter 2. The most common myths you have believed about mentally strong people. A lot of faulty and invalid information is out there on this particular topic. The major aim of this chapter will be to disrupt the popular myths you have in your mind about mental toughness, the hows and the whys of mental toughness. Myths. Myth number 1. Mentally strong people don't have fears, doubts, and agitations. Awful. The idea that mental toughness implies that an individual never has tension or agitations has no premise as a general rule. Fear, doubts, and tension are typical sound human feelings. Hence, mentally tough individuals can and do encounter them like any other person would. There are differences in how mentally tough individuals handle their fear and tension, however. Specifically, they don't give fear and agitations a chance to meddle with their daily lives. At the end of the day, they figure out how to take their apprehensions and tension. They are curious to see what happens. Truth be told, Exceptional competitors and entertainers go a long way past realizing how to utilize and manage nervousness. They give themselves to training in order to use tension to further bolster their advantage in approaches that lead to ideal execution. Experts train themselves to bridle their uneasiness through diligent work and commitment. That is the means by which they move towards becoming experts. You can too. Myth 2. Mental toughness is either inborn or not. Although there are many facts that point out that a few people have larger amounts of flexibility in comparison with others, it is absolutely false that resilience is a win big or bust attribute that an individual either brought into the world or not. For instance, being brought into the world with blue eyes. Life isn't a theory. Neither is the situation of whether an individual is mentally tough or not. Just like other mental attributes, mental toughness is a skill that can be developed like muscle. It works through deliberate preparation and life encounters. You have to believe me when I say it is achievable. I witness it consistently. For an individual to perform at the optimal level under pressure, such an individual must have a capability to self-direct. When an individual develops the major aptness to perform effectively, excellent performance becomes normal to her. And even more, when she starts performing effectively, she starts to trust in herself to keep performing effectively. This feeling of trust in oneself that she will be able to defeat misfortune given her present aptitudes, capacities, and information is designated self-adequacy. It is one of the main highlights of mental toughness. Continue learning and practicing self-control skills with the aim that you can effectively approach and conquer the challenges in your life instead of keeping away from them. What surprises many people is the way that having the certainty to approach difficulties in life isn't really required. Confidence will definitely come a short time later, but should not necessarily be there to succeed. The skill should be there, however. Myth number 3. Mentally tough people never quit. Several aspects of being a mentally tough individual include endurance, fortitude, and the willpower to stay put through difficult situations. There is a tendency to be too dogged and passionate in some difficulties. In training and competition, it might be essential to give up sometimes. You can identify an amateur or an individual who is mentally rigid when he doesn't pull out of training when it is the time to do so. It is either that he didn't know the boundaries or he deliberately ignored them. Athletes more often than not get into trouble when they cross those boundaries. There is usually a lot of pressure to remain steady in these circumstances because the rules never change or bend. Therefore, giving up at this junction will be the wisest thing to do. There is a knowledge that serves as a guideline to know the origin of the line. This information comes through guidance from expert trainers and therapists, as well as through personal experience and psychological symptoms experienced during practice and competition. Be watchful for that line when you are training for a competition. The major point worthy of note in this complicated subject is to accept that, as competitors, a thin line exists where giving up is the best thing to do, and it is a crucial mark that rests on many other elements. Myth 4. People who are mentally strong focus solely on victory and results. All the outcomes, in victories and disappointments and in wins and losses, have genuine ramifications. In whichever condition, results truly matter. In any situation, if you want to enlarge your performance base and achieve a set goal, focusing squarely on the future result during execution instead of concentrating on the occasion may be the most disastrous decision for you to make. It doesn't mean that mentally tough individuals don't think optimistically or that they abstain from thinking about the future and setting objectives. It doesn't mean that they don't use mental pictures in relation to achieving their objectives as inspiration when preparing for and in competition. It simply means they never allow distracting thoughts about the future, e.g., focusing on how they will perform on a given day or whether they will win or lose, to enter their minds. This act denies them of their concentration on the present moment, since this awareness of the present moment is required for perfect execution. Experts in the field, however, try as much as possible to keep up the pace and maintain undivided attention toward what they are doing. They are ceaselessly upgrading their situational mindfulness by continually moving between the big picture and significant subtleties inserted in the master plan. They're continually analyzing how their bodies are feeling, how they are positioned, and then executing different ideas in connection with the field. A major point to take cognizance of will be to concentrate on the present moment, in training and competition, and in the process of execution. At that point, the best result will take care of itself based on your input. Myth number 5. Mentally tough people usually like to be perfectionists. Perfectionism is an exacting attitude. There are two kinds of perfectionism, the beneficial and the hurtful. The former is classified as the perfectionist striving, and the latter is referred to as the perfectionist concern, although this myth in itself is not totally accurate. When perfectionist strivers go through bitterness, hurts, and setbacks, they do not dwell on them for too long. They are very meticulous about their next execution, even after they allow themselves to mourn their misfortune and disappointments. As such, they accumulate whatever information they have to proceed, they store and apply that information, and after that, they shift their concentration to whatever the assignment is straight away. As opposed to the self versus other focus of the perfectionist concerns, the strivers have a self-oriented point of view that includes concentrating on one's process. E.g., am I better, more grounded, and more self-caring than I was yesterday, as opposed to those of others? As you may effectively guess, a perfectionistic striving view is directly related to a high rate of focus and performance under self-compassion, pressure, and better physical well-being. Myth number 6. Misfortunes are unfavorable for developing mental toughness. Every dilemma and difficulty bring with them the opportunity to grow and become a better individual. When crises and trials hit us squarely in the face, we often neglect the myriad of opportunities in them and forget to use that avenue for our personal growth and flexibility. When you are confident enough to take risks in one aspect of your life, for instance, your physical well-being, the flexibility you develop in that area will definitely influence you in other aspects, for instance, in your social interactions. Simply focus on acquiring skills from experts who can guide you instead of fretting or worrying about lack of confidence. A major feature of misfortunes and trials is in the maintenance of mental alertness and developing new ways of endurance. It helps an individual to plunge ahead in life through hardships, discomfort, worries, and doubts. In the absence of adversity, we would neither grow nor become stronger, so do not run away from tribulations and trials, but seek them out in a modest way. Things mentally strong people never do. It is possible for you to work hard and smartly, but it would be unnecessary for you to add more habits to your hectic lifestyle in order for you to attain your peak potential. You can be smart as well as effective at work by reducing the patterns that eliminate efficiency and remove mental strength. Below are 13 things which mentally strong people do not engage. Number 1. Self-pity. Giving room for pity parties in difficult situations only expands the problems and complicates matters. Even if you are going through a particular illness or you can't pay your bills, It is a total waste of time to throw pity parties and indulge in your inadequacies and disappointments. Do not exaggerate your tragedies or keep track records of all the trials you've endured. You can choose to have a positive mental attitude and not give in to pity parties regardless of the crisis or challenge, because pity parties never proffer solutions to your problems. They only escalate the difficulty. You can keep self-pity far away from you by having a daily attitude of gratitude for 3 key things in your life. Number 2, give away their ability. If you constantly feel like the victim, it is impossible for you to be mentally vigorous. Nobody can control your life unless you permit it in your thoughts and actions. In other words, if you allow other people's actions to rule your life and emotions because of what they say or what they do, you indirectly give them the power to direct your life. The factors that influence your daily decisions can be seen in your speech. For instance, instead of saying, "I think I need to work extra hours today," say, "I'm going to stay late." There might be results if you don't work late, but it is a choice. Self-empowerment is a fundamental in creating the sort of life you need. Number 3, running away from change. We are in a world where things are constantly evolving, and your success depends largely on your ability to fit in. If you don't want to stay glued to your old methods of doing things, don't worry about change getting things complicated. You will become much more confident in your ability to adjust to any situation if you consistently practice handling stress from various angles, such as walking away from a toxic relationship, starting up a new job, and so on. Number 4, wasting your mental effort and energy on things you have no power to regulate. It is better for you to invest your mental and physical energy on solving problems rather than wishful thinking and grumbling. Therefore, you will be better prepared for whatever circumstance that comes your way. When you notice that you are about to slip into depression mode because of things you can't control, such as the attitude of other people and the choices they make, you should channel that energy toward a worthwhile cause. You could help a colleague get work done or complete an unfinished project you have at hand. You have to learn to deal with conditions that you can't control and concentrate on influencing people rather than bossing them around. Number 5, worrying about pleasing everyone. You can't possibly make everyone happy, and if you try, you might get burned out mentally and most likely miss your goals. Regardless of what the situation is, whether your father-in-law dislikes you or you are forced to go to a ceremony you don't want to attend, you can't please everyone. Before you can live a genuine life, you have to set the rules according to your own standards, and sometimes you make choices that annoy others. Concentrate solely on utilizing your energy for your top 5 values and stay committed to achieving them. Number 6, fear of taking risks. When you are enthusiastic about a new adventure, you are not afraid to take a giant leap of faith and plunge ahead. In the presence of fear, it might be difficult for you to take any crucial step. Extraordinary people are individuals who are not afraid of taking chances, and your emotions can rob you of clear, critical thinking, hindering you from taking intelligent risks. It is vital for you to make a detailed list of the advantages and disadvantages of making a decision based on accurate logic and emotions. Recognize your feelings and determine how your emotions can influence your thoughts. Number 7, living in the past. When you habitually dwell in the memories of the past by pondering on them continually, it can damage you emotionally. Although it is totally essential to gain lessons from our past experiences, we must not dwell on them to the point that it breaks us emotionally. Let go of the past. You can ask questions about the past event once in a while, but it should not keep you from focusing on the present and creating a beautiful future. In letting go of the past, you have to do away with a lot of emotional baggage, such as unforgiveness, bitterness, anger, and every other kind of negative emotion. Develop yourself through the hurtful processes rather than reliving the past all over again. Number 8. Repeating failures. Any occurrence of failure is an opportunity to learn and be a better person. Perhaps you recovered the weight that you endeavored to lose, or you overlooked a vital due date. Maybe you felt embarrassed when you gave the wrong answer in class, or you were mocked for failing. You might have learned at a young age that mistakes are awful. You may hide or excuse your mistakes to cover the disgrace related with them, and doing as such will keep you from learning from them. See every failure as a greater opportunity for development. Be honest with yourself and assess why you failed in that aspect. Number 9. Jealousy for other people's achievement. Jealousy is a dangerous attitude toward other people's successes. When you watch a colleague get promoted or receive an award, or when you overhear your neighbor talking about their latest house, what goes on in your mind? Envy or gratitude? Jealousy fills your mind with troubles and hinders you from accomplishing your own goals. Have a definite sense of purpose and pin down your specific definition of success, because your attitude will be influenced by your understanding of success. When other people shine their lights, it doesn't stop your own candle from glowing as well. Number 10. Quitting after their first loss. Have you ever thought about Thomas Edison's failure? The man who made hundreds of attempts before he finally invented the functioning light bulb we make use of today? Almost every true success story started with many failed attempts before they eventually hit the mark. You should not be that kind of person who avoids failure because of the fear of defeat. Step out of your comfort zone and break the limitations. Even if you don't win at first attempt and people embarrass and insult you, keep at it. Don't look back and keep improving yourself until the point of expertise. Stay dogged in your pursuit for self-improvement. Keep trying and trying again. Number 11. The fear of solitude. A lot of people are intimidated by the thought of being alone with their musings. Solitude can either be effective or ineffective. It is a beneficial habit for you to create time, at least 10 minutes daily, to be alone with your thoughts. However, many people run away from silence under the guise of numerous activities and hectic work schedules. Number 12. A feeling of entitlement to the world. It is a very poor mindset to wait for people to give you what you desire as a result of your hard work and effort. Sometimes we feel too entitled to success when we think we have done exceptionally well, sailing through the good times and the bad times. It would be better for you to deliberately focus on everything you have to offer rather than what you think you deserve. No matter how you feel or think about the way life has treated you, you definitely have a value to give others. Number 13. Anticipate speedy results. Regardless of whether you are trying to reduce your tendency to procrastinate or improve your marriage, expecting momentary results will prompt disillusionment. Self-development is a gradual process. Learn to see obstacles as unimportant events and see your endeavors as a marathon and not a sprint. Mental strength gives you the ability to scale through difficulties. You definitely require a lot of mental energy when life situations hit you in the face, maybe a friend's death or financial hardship or a serious medical issue. Pay more attention to aspects in which you are doing great and make do of opportunities when you need improvement. Everyone can develop his or her mental capacity, Work on being your very own mentor of mental strength. Make opportunities for development, and afterward, provoke yourself to end up a little better today than you were yesterday. Mental toughness gives you the capability to observe the shortcomings of life and the temporary nature of a mortal man, and accept the resultant effect of worrying, doubts, fears, and uncertainties. It involves a blend of flexibility and willpower. The world we live in is in disorder, and our lives are delicate and unpredictable. There is no doubt that we are fully conscious of this fact, and so in the absence of fear, we are ready to overcome the universe and overcome all odds. Be committed to your goals until the finish line. Chapter 3: Mental Strength and the Secrets of Athletes Training for Sports. A lot of competitors in sports try out various ways to acquire mental strength, but sadly, most competitors don't know how to develop it. Worse still, many of them and their mentors don't have a clue as to what mental strength is and how it can enhance their performance. Most athletes listen to professional competitors and Olympians talk about the excellencies of mental strength training and how mental strength was the source of their incredible athletic accomplishments. New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady discussed the significance of mental strength. Football requires so much mental strength. It requires digging deep and also involves doing all it takes to help a team win. The absence of mental strength is the greatest foe of competitors. A lack of mental strength causes competitors to throw in the towel, lose the match, and be less productive. The success of an athlete is in direct correlation to his level of mental strength. To stand out and become mentally strong, you must be willing to do what most competitors don't do. A large number of competitors are of the opinion that mental strength is an inborn ability. Furthermore, if you were not born with traits of mental strength, you cannot prevail in your chosen athletic career. But this sentiment simply is not true. You are absolutely correct that you require mental fitness training to succeed. However, you are also completely wrong to assume that you cannot become mentally stronger. Most competitors do have what it takes to be mentally stronger than others, especially competitors who have faced some adversity in their lives and are used to bouncing back. Some good examples are the likes of Greg Norman and Michael Jordan, both of whom reacted well to disappointments. Adapting to affliction is part of mental strength. Mental strength is a state of mind and dispositions that are developed individually and not inherited or acquired. If you are the one in charge of your mindset, you can easily change the way you view yourself or your capacity to succeed. By adjusting your reasoning, you will change the way you feel about yourself, and thus change the way you act, train, and compete. To be very clear, mental strength is not just a frame of mind or something with which you were born having. It is a habit. Mental strength in sports is not something you can just possess when there are seconds left in a game. Mental strength is required in order to consistently deal with the difficulties in your game. You need to concentrate, train, and develop your mental strength on an ongoing basis. When mental strength training becomes a normal routine, you can perform at the top of your athletic capacity. Plus, you are better equipped to deal with obstructions, challenges, and difficult conditions without losing your inspiration or self-confidence. Your fitness level can be compared with your mental strength because the more you practice, the fitter you become. If athletes quit training, their fitness levels drop gradually. In the same manner, if you're not consistent about tending to your mental fitness, your level of mental strength begins to diminish as well. Basically, mental strength isn't a win. There are varying degrees of mental strength. This actuality is incredible news because all competitors can derive some benefits from mental strength training. As your mental strength increases, your performance will also be enhanced. The training and competitive atmosphere is a good place to develop mental strength. Participating in sports has a number of advantages. When people play games, it enables them to remain fit and make friends while having a good time. Whatever the case may be, sports or games in general offer more than physical and social advantages. Sports allow people to develop mental strength, a valuable quality that can be applied to any part of life. Sports camps activate game mode in people and help them enhance their mental strength. Sports camps have become more popular in recent years because they do provide these advantages to participants. Many sports camps now exist, and there are various organizations that assist in organizing and listing reputable sports camps in order to make them easier to find and access. Sports camps offer a challenging but rewarding atmosphere that can enable competitors to develop their strengths both physically and mentally. At a sports camp, athletes are encouraged to develop their skills and acquire as much knowledge as possible from the instructors and staff. This conditioning is advantageous in various ways and can add to a competitor's mental strength in a number of ways. Listed below are some of the specific ways sports help enhance mental strength. A goal-oriented mindset. Getting involved in sports can help individuals concentrate on ultimate objectives. By urging competitors to learn specific skills at sports camps, trainers can encourage players to focus on an objective and to act cautiously and skillfully. The spirit of competition can stimulate players to concentrate on achieving a target through strategic activities. This goal-oriented mindset can also enable competitors to apply the same attitude in different aspects of life. This mindset can be applied to the academic community, the labor market, as well as other endeavors in life. Having the capacity to concentrate on objectives and to find a way to achieve them is a trait of mentally strong individuals. Personal responsibility. When an individual is given the responsibility to play out a specific role in a group while at a training camp, it can help that person learn responsibility. This area of mental strength is fascinating as it enhances self-consciousness while helping the person add to a team spirit through her individual activities. Sports camps help foster moral duty in many forms and can enable competitors to have a sense of duty and be in charge of their lives and success. This mentality can be extremely helpful in various areas of life and can result in stronger and more sociable individuals. Self-discipline. Youngsters find it quite challenging to become disciplined. Therefore, to participate in activities that may not be fun but rather that will serve a greater purpose, kids must have the strength to be in charge of their own desires and to engage in tasks by setting short and long-term goals. Self-discipline is a virtue that is highly encouraged in sports and at training camps. Training, healthy eating, performing day-by-day tasks, and completing them all enhance self-discipline and can help people become stronger mentally. The capacity to control one's feelings to make future goals more possible is an invaluable skill for any individual who possesses it. Cooperation. Training camps provide individual guidance yet also enable people to improve their own way of life by allowing them to be more sociable as they meet others. Working with others is important for proper functionality in society, families, and the working environment. Mentally resilient people know how to use their personal talents so as to perform a role in a team and to seek a common objective through combined capacity. The feeling of working toward a common goal with others is a gratifying feeling that mentally strong people can appreciate. Training camps and competitive environments help enhance the spirit of teamwork, coordinated efforts, and cooperation. Positive thinking. One of the most beneficial parts of competitive environments is that they help people think positively. Having the capacity to think positively due to a good experience is an indication of mental strength, something particularly true in games camps, as the first-hand instruction provided can help people trust in their own skills and their capacity to achieve objectives despite adversity. A good experience at a games camp can encourage participants to return to or to keep seeking the game long after leaving the camp due to the positive effects they enjoy from it. The capacity to learn. Most popular training camps have very qualified coaches to instruct and coach participants. Games enable people to become mentally strong in a number of ways, and one of the most outstanding ways is by encouraging learning. Sometimes it can be difficult to accept mentorship. However, a good mentor can pass the knowledge on to any athlete who is ready to learn. Having the capacity to put these skills into good use in various endeavors of life, for example, in academics or the workforce, can be extremely advantageous. To have the capacity to follow instructions and guidance is very important. But it is also vital to be able to apply those instructions and to see the outcomes. Training camp helps people become teachable and primes them to be able to learn much more easily. Defeating adversity. Some days can be challenging. At times, competitors are worn out, hurt, or just unmotivated. It may be difficult to overcome these obstacles in order to have a good performance. Through training and mental strength, competitors can figure out how to effectively defeat these obstacles and perform at a much elevated level. This capacity to defeat adversity is a vital part of mental strength. Defeating obstacles in games is a starting point for figuring out how to use a similar attitude in different areas of life, allowing people to feel more in charge of their own success. Training camps help enhance mental health as well as physical fitness. The competitive atmosphere, group environment, and focused nature of games help enhance a beneficial mental viewpoint, and people can take these strengths off the field with them and into various areas of their day-to-day life. It is not simply the cardiovascular conditioning or the muscle strengthening that individuals look for in games. Chapter 4. The 8 Most Common Traits of Mentally Tough Athletes. Mental toughness is no doubt one of the most crucial traits of an athlete. Grit may be another word to describe mental toughness. It is the capacity to work hard, to push oneself to limits, and to respond to adversity or laziness with resilience. How do you react when you just don't feel like doing what you have to do? Mentally tough athletes respond to situations because they have the following 8 traits. Number 1. Being mentally strong means having a high emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence has to do with regulating your thoughts and training your brain to think in a manner that is helpful to your mental state. Mental strength means that you must be able to ignore self-doubt or replace self-criticism with self-compassion. Mentally strong people are aware of their emotions and can understand how they influence the way they think and behave even when the situations are uncomfortable. Athletes learn to control their emotions or divert them so that they don't adversely influence results. Emotional intelligence is quite intriguing in the world of sports and games. Intrapersonal and interpersonal aspects are vital in this aspect. Self-consciousness, self-discipline, self-inspiration, social abilities, and sympathy are things that each competitor deals with to a greater or lesser degree. Emotional intelligence in games can lead to more achievements, improved performance, and enhanced inspiration. Although emotional intelligence in sports is a minute thing, it can make a major difference. Each athlete, irrespective of their level of performance, needs to figure out how to manage their emotions. There is no ideal formula. Number 2. Being mentally strong means knowing how to set the proper goals. Setting goals is a good way to give yourself direction, focus, and inspiration. Whether your goals are great or small, the first step in achieving them is deciding what they are. Figure out how to assess your goals and develop a plan for how you will attain them. Athletes are always looking for ways to improve performance and improve the winning potential. Goal setting has proven a more reliable way to enhance their success. Goal setting can be a way of enhancing inspiration and helping competitors enhance performance. Therefore, a well-defined goal can be achieved as it represents a victory, and it helps the athlete become aware that they are on a path toward continued success. Number 3. Being mentally tough means taking responsibility. Mentally tough people accept full responsibility for things they refuse to do, fall prey to a victim mentality, bother about an uncertain future, give in to their fears and insecurities, and regret past choices, decisions, and actions. Taking responsibility is empowering because it gives a sense of control over your life. Simply put, it provides you with assurances that you will conquer despite the circumstances you face, making you believe in defeating that hurdle or situation at the end. Taking responsibility is empowering because it influences solution-based thinking, which gives birth to a large number of creative ideas to help solve your problems effectively. You are empowered to take an active role in answering life's problems, which earns you a great deal of respect. You will be in charge and hold the reins of power. Your life will no longer be at the mercy of other people or circumstances. You are in full control. Anybody in control goes places and always responds proactively to circumstances in optimal ways. This behavior is the key to any kind of success you visualize for yourself and for your life. Number 4. Being mentally tough means being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Mentally tough people are comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and rightly so. In reality, this mastery alone converts all the hard work they have done leading up to this moment into a triumph. There will be that point in your life when you tell yourself, "Never before have I done this." You might even ask yourself, "What am I doing?" You must embrace getting comfortable feeling uncomfortable. When opportunities come, you should not have another option than to take it. You have to step out of your comfort zone. Every professional athlete has been there. They understand the art of performing under pressure to produce the best result, no matter the situation. They don't care about how uncomfortable they feel. They go for it. They focus on their performance rather than their uncomfortable situation so they can gain control. Number 5. Being mentally tough means being able to manage your time well. To reach your goals and achieve success, you have to manage your time. It is the only way to take inspired and timely actions to make your results exceed your human potential. When it comes to time, we all have 24 hours. Whether you are old, young, rich, poor, male, female, an amateur, or a pro, time is constant for everyone. Like money, time is an asset and you have to invest it. Mentally tough people understand that time cannot be borrowed or saved, and therefore they invest it wisely. This way, they accomplish great things. You have to be aware of how your time is spent. Do whatever it takes to ensure that you are managing it wisely. Set aside time to do the vital activities first, before the less important ones. Also, know when to make time for the people who are dear to your life. Wise time management is one of the most important characteristics of mentally tough people. Time management should make extra time for you rather than take your time. Number 6. Being mentally strong means to have a positive outlook. Mentally strong people have the ability to control their feelings, manage their thoughts, and behave in a positive manner irrespective of the situation. Developing mental strength is about finding the strength to live according to your values and being bold enough to have your own definition of success. Positive thinking is not about thinking there are no hard times or problems, or that the world is perfect. It is about seeing life situations in reality and picking out the positive in these situations. Mentally tough people understand this practice and incorporate it into their way of life. They don't wallow in their worries. Rather, they see them as opportunities to learn and grow so that they don't repeat bad situations in the future. Keeping a positive outlook is a mindset, and becoming a mentally tough person means you have to see the end point of a situation as being positive. Number 7. Being mentally tough means having the discipline to do the difficult things. Managing your willpower to achieve things that are generally seen as desirable is referred to as self-discipline, and utilizing that exact willpower to abstain from doing things that are regarded as undesirable or to postpone gratifications is referred to as self-control. Getting a grip on our willpower is fundamental to achieving mental toughness. Willpower is a skill that functions like a muscle. It must undergo training to be strengthened, and it becomes weak when it is not utilized enough. Self-discipline is difficult and uncomfortable, but it must be developed for mental toughness. Through self-discipline, you will be able to accomplish any goal you have set. Number 8. Being mentally strong means living for a future purpose. Mentally strong people are determined, confident, and committed in the way they handle their daily activities. Emotionally, they are generous and vulnerable. They're also bold, hopeful, and faithful despite fear. Spiritually, they're connected to what makes them who they are, leveraging on endurance and perseverance, fighting difficult battles from within. Also, physically, they develop muscles and tend the vessel that enables them to make the journey of life. They become stronger through trials and failures and push forward to victories. Mentally tough individuals are able to endure trials and tribulations because they have a force driving them from inside, a purpose. Therefore, they are able to endure and keep going through difficult times. When a person can uncover and realize his beliefs and values, he will have a clear path as to where he has been, but more importantly, to where he is heading. By discovering beliefs and values, people can be in control of their lives by adjusting and changing those values and beliefs that prevent them from reaching their peak personal success, personal performance, and their purpose. Chapter 5. Being mentally strong means having a high emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is your capacity to adequately relate with others and control yourself. Emotional intelligence is another way of understanding intelligence. It goes past subjective viewpoints, such as memory and the capacity to find solutions to problems. Additionally, it involves connecting with your feelings and controlling them, inspiring yourself, controlling stimulations, and overcoming disappointment. There are 4 essential supporting dimensions in this field. Self-consciousness, the capacity to comprehend what you feel and remain consistent with your values and your essence. Self-inspiration, the capacity to strive for your objectives and goals, recoup from disappointments, and handle stress. Social alertness. The third dimension has to do with your social alertness and sympathy. Good human relation. The fourth dimension is the philosophical backbone of emotional intelligence. It is your capacity to relate, interact, reach consensus, and connect positively and respectfully with others. Emotional intelligence in sports. Competitors need to manage numerous desires and requests in sports. Differences in performance are not only because of physical training and nutrition, but also because of mental states. Therefore, a sports psychologist is in charge of examining and observing the behaviors, responses, and emotional reactions of a person or group. When you are playing a game, you need to control your emotions or divert them so that they don't adversely influence the results. In games, you need to decide quickly and wisely. Emotional intelligence is quite intriguing in the world of sports and games. Intrapersonal and interpersonal aspects are vital in this aspect. Self-consciousness, self-discipline, self-inspiration, social abilities, and sympathy are things that each competitor deals with to a greater or lesser degree. Most of the tools that emotional intelligence and sports share have one thing in common. They are very practical in everyday life. Sports psychologists share a wide range of different relaxation methods as well as exercises in focusing and visualization. Clubs, associations, and mentors now execute these methods. Their aim is to enhance the competitor's performance. How mentally strong athletes display emotional intelligence. Here are some of the popular subjects I have noticed among successful sportsmen. There are a number of key attributes that make up mental strength. Focus. Focus is the capacity to concentrate despite distractions or unexpected circumstances. The mentally strong sportsman doesn't avoid situations, but rather addresses them immediately. For instance, when you are in the final lap of a long-distance run, you feel worn out, you are hurting, and you want to give in. It is now when you need to focus on your goal. You encourage yourself with words like, "I must keep forging ahead, just this step, one more step." You will likely reach the finish line when you are mentally focused. Tenacity. Tenacity is the capacity to recover from a disappointing performance, pain, or despair. A mentally strong sportsman can detect and concede a mistake, identify a missed opportunity, isolate the lesson, and then rapidly concentrate on the immediate goal ahead. Strength. Strength is the capacity to deal with an unexpected development and still remain composed, calm, and focused. The mentally strong athlete can stay strong and adaptable, ready to adjust to any circumstance that emerges. Preparation. Preparation is the capacity to foresee circumstances beforehand and be ready so there is a plan of action for whatever may occur. The mentally strong sportsman does not panic in a crisis. For example, you might be in a race and your competitor moves in front of you. You have a technique to stay mentally composed, adjust your pace, and carry on with your plan. Vision. Vision is the capacity to keep forging ahead with your goal, even if the finish line is not in sight. Mentally strong athletes create a mental picture of the goal. They analyze it regularly and keep that picture in mind no matter what. You envision all the possible scenarios and design a plan for moving through each one successfully. Transparency. Transparency is the capacity to learn and be open to all possible outcomes. A mentally strong sportsman is ready to pay attention and take feedback and look at areas where actual changes are needed. You pay attention to the voice from within that says, "I can do this. I have all it takes and the resources within me to create my own success." Trust. Trust is the capacity to have confidence in oneself. Mentally strong athletes believe that the body will know what to do when it is time to race. You trust in your mentor, and you trust in your training and your plan. You have faith in yourself, even when there is no one around to encourage you. You go with what you know, even when your supporters are not present at the race. You remain mentally strong and keep forging ahead even when the finish line seems far away. You encourage yourself with the thought that every step brings me closer to the finish line. Mentally strong competitors practice the manner in which they play. These competitors treat every training session like a tournament. While training, they push to the edge of their limit, take risks, and listen to criticism from mentors. For mentally strong competitors, it is not about going through a routine. Every time they step on the court or field, they see a chance to make progress. Mentally strong competitors are undeterred by adversity. You see the strength of a competitor when the board doesn't turn their favor. The strongest can bridle their feelings and do not have observable reactions when they make mistakes. Rather, these players stay calm, remain composed, and divert attention to what they can control. Mentally strong competitors have a positive spirit. These competitors believe they possess what it takes to succeed. Most often, the strongest are the ones picking up their partners and giving additional consolation. They are positive in their planning and have a strong sense of identity as a player. Mentally strong competitors succeed in life. The lessons learned in the field are applicable to other facets of life. The traits of mentally strong competitors, tenacity, focus, inspiration, are the same qualities that allow them to stand out in school and in their profession. Why is it important for sportsmen to be mentally strong? Various research has revealed the significance of controlling your feelings when training for a game. Emotions and success in sports mesh for an individual, but differ from one team to another. Every competitor handles stress uniquely. Therefore, each competitor requires a different degree of positive and negative support for high performance during a game. Only a few studies are available on emotional intelligence in sports, but what the studies suggest is that emotional intelligence is highly imperative to performance. Emotional intelligence in games can lead to more achievements, improved performance, and enhanced inspiration. However, emotional intelligence is determined by the competitor's personality and how she handles stress or pressure. When a competitor is being pressured, she must make prompt decisions. This pressure increases her stress levels. Consequently, professional competitors must be primed to manage stress. Some advantages of emotional intelligence in games include the following. From an emotional aspect, it makes the longing to accomplish goals stronger. Likewise, it strengthens competitiveness, individual and professional values, self-evaluation, collaboration, leadership, sympathy, and emotional control. From a physical aspect, it enables the competitors to prioritize and not obsess about the game. It boosts time management, knowing when to rest, and setting healthy eating habits. From a social aspect, it enhances the association with colleagues, mentors, physiotherapists, and so on. From a logical aspect, it enables competitors to figure out the technicalities of the game on both specialized and strategic levels. Basic principles and practices on how to control emotions. Even two individuals encountering the same feelings can respond in different ways. So a footballer who is embarrassed about missing too many shots might respond by calling for the ball to have the chance to save face, while another might want to avoid the ball altogether. Below are tips on controlling emotions in sports. Music. Listening to motivational music is an incredible way for a sportsman to get into the spirit of competition. Upbeat or motivational music, for instance, boosts a competitor's confidence and inspiration, enhancing performance on the pitch. Music is a fine way to stimulate arousal levels while also assisting in preventing distracting thoughts. Self-talk. Negative self-talk leads to a poor emotional state, which later affects athletic performance. Replacing negative talk with positive self-talk, such as, "I played so well in my previous game," or, "I've done this before, I know I can achieve it again," replaces negative feelings and creates positive ones. This positive self-talk enhances feelings such as satisfaction. About 76% of top-level skaters use this means to manage the stress of competition. Relaxing positive imagery. If you are stressed out over competing or about falling short, try creating positive pictures like scoring a goal. As a young footballer, Wayne Rooney used to lie in bed, picturing himself dribbling past defenders and scoring goals. He uses these visualization methods to this day and credits them for his achievements. It has been discovered that imagery focused on strength, control, and self-confidence leads to enhanced motivation, emotional control, and self-trust. It is a good method to try out the night before a game or just before stepping out to contend. Challenging self-limiting thoughts. It is essential to continually review your attitude both on the field and off the field to ensure it is helping rather than limiting your performance. If you are applying energy and focus on attitudes that are hurting you, you are wasting energy. A top tennis player was asked how often in her profession she contended with the referee and how many times it actually resulted in a call being changed, once in a while. The big difference in the energy expended compared to the results she got allowed her to discover that there were better things on which to channel her energy. Face your fears. Psychologists are of the opinion that there are 3 ways individuals cope with situations. These are evading, being emotional, and being problem-focused. Assume you are troubled about rats in your storehouse. You could decide never to go into your storehouse again, evasion-focused. Talk yourself into believing that having rats in your storehouse isn't that bad, emotion-focused. Or go into your storehouse and kill the rats, problem-focused. While evasion-focused and emotional-focused adapting may give short-term relief, problem-focused adapting tackles the issue head-on, enabling you to make long-term benefits. Unlike an ostrich, don't bury your head in the sand. If an issue is bothering you, find a way to solve it. Relax your body. Studies show that flexing your muscles for a moment and then consciously relaxing them will make you feel a sense of relief, physically and mentally. It also leads to a reduced pulse, lesser feelings of physical exhaustion, and reduced nervousness. Learn from others. Role-playing sessions lessen angry outbursts on the pitch. The ability to learn from others is a key to developing a growth mindset and a vital skill in life. Strive to imitate competitors who manage emotionally difficult situations well. This imitation is an effective strategy for dealing with anger and stress. Develop self-consciousness. Keep notes or review playbacks of circumstances where strong feelings emerged during a game and how you managed them. This information is imperative to know in order to get the best from your emotional state. It enables you to detect which feelings are beneficial and competitive and which are not. Keeping a record to improve self-consciousness is a basic and effective way to enhance megacognition. This practice can be highly effective as your newly discovered awareness can assist you in identifying which thoughts and emotions need challenging. Reframe. Adjusting our perception of disappointments and achievements can likewise be effective. For instance, a Premier League striker tries hard to score goals, fails, and feels sad because of it. Helping him reframe his definition of achievements to include all the other things he is doing well helps boost his spirits and gets him back to his goal-scoring form. The more important you assume the situation is, the more likely you are to have a strong emotional response to it. Studies suggest that believing that it is simply another match can help lessen the tension and intensity that emotions bring. Take deep breaths. Just like muscle relaxation, concentrating on taking deep, slow breaths can be a key factor in managing emotion. These breaths enhance feelings of relief and lead to lesser physical symptoms of negative feelings, such as muscle tension. In addition, deep breaths also provide a sense of control of the circumstances, slow things down, and give you time to consider how best to continue. How to manage stress, energy, and their physical response. At work or in life, everyone encounters stress. What is more, encountering stress goes twofold for competitors. Not only do sportsmen have to bother about emotional and lifestyle stress, but they also have to bother about competition and training stress. How do athletes know that they are under stress? Simply put, an athlete with a moderate training schedule and stress load will be full of strength and will perform well. On the other hand, an athlete who is stressed will seem tired and lack motivation to compete, may have trouble resting and eating, and will be more prone to injuries and ailments. A certain level of stress is actually beneficial to the competitors. Stress helps us concentrate, and it also allows us to perform with more energy. However, our bodies can't differentiate between performance stress and lifestyle stress. Excessive stress is simply bad stress, which in turn causes hormonal imbalance. In the end, stress affects our entire metabolic activities and immunity. While an athlete can deal with stress better than a non-athlete because he is primed to manage pressure, overtraining or competing excessively can destroy years of diligent work. Athletes must be extremely mindful to attain a good balance by maintaining high levels of fitness without going beyond the limits of their physical and mental capacities. Since the body responds to all stress in the same way, athletes who wish to be at their best should ensure that they live a stress-free and manageable life outside of sports. Stress is impossible to evade, but it can be controlled. Lifestyle stress. The sportsman needs to be financially stable. He ought not to be accumulating more stress by mounting debts. Therefore, a part-time job that pays enough for an essential living but allows time for practice is preferable to a well-paid but demanding job, and better than being jobless and accumulating financial worries. Other factors like where you live and how far you travel must be considered as well. The college-based competitors in America, the heavily sponsored athletes in Western Europe, or the state-funded athletes in the old East Germany have all had this stress out of their lives. Emotional stress. Emotional stress is a kind of stress that we can barely control, yet we can manage other aspects of our lives so as to diminish the aggregate stress load. When under great stress, one should use training sessions as a form of therapy. Training stress. Training must be dynamic and should be done gradually. The increase in intensity and the introduction of new training strategies should all be done gradually with one phase leading into the next. There must be regular breaks to ensure that the body can adapt to the extra stress before increasing it further. Each hard lesson must be followed with a recuperation period before the next one is attempted. It is a mistake to try to improve quality and quantity simultaneously. Train first for the distance, thereafter improve the quality. Competition stress. Since rivalry is at the core of every sport, one should never say avoid rivalry. However, I would say select rivalry, and the selection must consider the other stresses in your life. One can practice coping with competition stress, and the thinking athlete, or the thinking coach, will map out a competitive series in which the challenge gradually develops. As each challenge is successfully met, the athlete's confidence develops until the point that she is set for the highest level. One must understand that attaining this level comes with it the strong possibility of disappointment, something that the new athlete may never have experienced. Being able to handle disappointment and get back in the game again is the most important lesson sports can teach you. Everyday stress. On a more basic level, one can use the idea of total stress load to control one's daily health and fitness. There are a few simple rules. At the point when lifestyle stress or emotional stress heightens, competition stress ought to be avoided, and training should come in the form of therapy, hard or easy according to how you feel. No matter how great the pressures on you, some time should be allotted daily for physical exercise. 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week is the minimum. Even if you don't take part in sports, you should pay attention to yourself as if you were an athlete in training. Your eating and sleeping habits should be as regular as possible. A daily examination of your resting pulse and a weekly check on your weight will help you detect if anything is going wrong. As you would notice, emotional intelligence in sports is highly beneficial. In games, every detail counts. A second or a centimeter can mean the difference between success and failure. Although emotional intelligence in sports is a minute thing, it can make a major difference. Every competitor, irrespective of their level, needs to figure out how to manage their emotions. There is no ideal formula. What works well for one individual does not mean it will also work well for you. Using some of the methods described will give a strong platform to determine what works best for you. Chapter 6. Being mentally strong means knowing how to set the proper goals. Setting goals is a good way to give yourself direction, focus, and inspiration. Whether your goals are great or small, the first step in achieving them is deciding what they are. Figure out how to assess your goals and develop a plan for how you will attain them. Goal setting can help if you feel like you lack direction, you feel overwhelmed by what is going on in your life, or if you have a big dream or project on which you want to embark. Every athlete looks for ways to improve performance and the winning potential. Goal setting has proven a reliable way to enhance success. Goal setting can be a way of enhancing inspiration and helping competitors to enhance performance. Therefore, a well-defined goal can be achieved as it represents a victory and helps the athletes become aware that they are on a path toward continued success. There are two essential goal structures, and each has a distinct orientation. Number 1, performance-based goal orientation. Generally, athletes who use a performance-based orientation have a positive, optimistic outlook. They characterize success as an accomplishment, improving and embarking on new tasks. They have strong faith in their capacity to learn and improve. They're also willing to contribute time, energy, and resources to achieve their goal. Number 2, result-based goal orientation. Such a person is strongly focused on how others view them and have less concern on skill development and overcoming difficulties. These competitors view achievement or failure based on their view of their social status. They see winning as a positive social status when compared to other athletes. How mentally tough athletes set the proper goals. Number 1, create goals that are specific, recognizable, and measurable. Allocating common targets, like upgrading one's shooting percentage in basketball, is easy, but it becomes difficult to control and do without setting out guidelines or directions. Setting out how and when to do things can aid this purpose. Coaches, consider advising your players to draw a C with their wrists and use cue words like push to direct players toward the definition of enhanced mechanics. A measurable goal is something you can quantify, such that you know how close you are to reaching that target. Instead of saying, "A good number of you have a good shooting percentage," Disclosing the percentage of players who meet the 65% standard can be updated each week until 100% of the team has achieved this target. Recognizable targets are those that can be counted and are set out. Therefore, recognizing what makes a general purpose can develop guidelines that are recognizable and measurable basically in terms of a fixed date or number of trials. Number 2. Clearly identify the time constraints. Telling players to upgrade their shooting percentage will be pointless unless you have determined a date or event to work toward. Is this target to be achieved by the playoffs? By the end of the week? The end of practice? Carefully stated targets should be timed. Number 3. Set moderately difficult goals. Moderate targets are better than easy or very complicated ones because they motivate athletes to train harder and push themselves in order to meet a realizable target. Much satisfaction is guaranteed when these targets are attained. Number 4. Write down goals and monitor progress regularly. Goals are pointless if forgotten. Write them down, being as straightforward as you can. Never rely on your memory alone. That journal or that publicly posted chart can do a world of good. Types of goals. Poorly written goals. Improve my passing. Improve my free throw mechanics. Improve my victory-defeat record from last year. Rewritten and improved goals. Pass 8 times to a teammate during scrimmaging. Stick to bending at the knees during every 10 trials. Improve free throw percentage during games while reducing the amount of fouls committed in the first half. This goal aids in the monitoring process for the coaches and athletes. Number 5. Use short-term goals to attain long-term plans. Setting goals is similar to climbing a mountain. The long-haul aim of reaching your main targets requires the setting of short-term strategic goals. Number 6. Set practice as well as competition goals. It is necessary for the team and the coach to realize the crucial significance of productive practices while preparing for a competition. Practice goals and competition performance goals should be matched as often as possible. Goals related to work ethic and disposition to practice are crucial. Turning up early for practice, going for training with enthusiasm, and paying close attention to the coach and team captain are examples. In addition, pouring encomiums on each other after every good effort can improve team cohesion and promote a very supportive environment that is fun. Using mental skills, e.g., imagery, that can help with learning skills, strategies, presentation, as well as working through competitive anxiety, should also be a part of practice goals. Number 7. Ensure that goals are internalized by the athlete. It is necessary that athletes feel in total command, self-determined, of their targets. An important feature of goal setting is ensuring that athletes internalize and accept their goals. Athletes internalize their targets if they are allowed to set them. Most times, targets set for the athletes by the coaches are not taken very seriously. Number 8. Consider individual differences in personality in goal setting. An athlete's personality characteristics can determine the effectiveness of goal setting. Coaches should never forget this fact. That a player is task-oriented, compares her performance to herself, or ego-oriented, compares her performance to that of others, could decide the extent to which she will be able to internalize her targets. Athletes have little control over the outcome when they define success as beating others. There is the tendency by ego-oriented athletes to set unrealistically high or low targets so they can have an excuse if their targets are not met. Task-oriented athletes are more confident, persist at a task longer, and set targets about doing their best while making some improvements and experiencing success more frequently. Number 9. Set positive targets as opposed to negative targets. Targets can be stated either negatively, e.g., decrease the number of times I fall off the balance beam during back walkovers, or positively, e.g., increase the number of times I complete a back walkover on the balance beam. Set targets in positive terms by staying on behaviors that should be present rather than those that should be absent. This wording allows athletes to focus on success rather than failure. Number 10. Identify a goal achievement strategy. Make it a matter of utmost importance to differentiate between setting goals and identifying a plan that will help you realize your goals. For instance, outcome targets and general objective targets are often set without strategies. Look at the objective of making some university basketball teams. A high school student must know the grade point average needed to gain admission to study his academic program of interest and abide by a strict study timetable to attain grades high enough on assignments and tests in different classes. He would have to work hard at passing, throwing, and shooting skills as well as his attacking and defensive skills while setting other important objectives essential into getting into summer scouting camps. Number 11. Seek support for goals. Outstanding individuals in the life of an athlete can aid in achieving these targets. These include the team coach, other coaches, family, teammates, friends, and even opponents. Endeavor to drill these people on the kinds of targets that you have set for yourself and the need for their assistance in motivating development toward the targets. Number 12. Set team as well as individual performance targets. Team performance can be set as easily as individual performances. While setting some of the various types of targets, coaches should consider involving the team. For instance, he could involve players while picking weak performance areas and consider whether to concentrate on procedure or methodologies involved in those weak areas over the course of training. Staying on track with your goals. There exists no point whatsoever in setting goals and targets if there is no way of measuring the success and progress. You must be able to measure progress in order to determine the level of success that you achieve. While measuring progress, you could ascertain for yourself the distance so far, which is a powerful motivating factor. While making good progress, confidence grows along with motivation. Knowing that you are making good progress will give you the much-needed drive to complete that task. A visual picture of the situation is given while measuring your progress. In cases where desired progress is not made, one is able to see this lack before falling behind. Lapses could then be checked and changes made to return one to the right course. Stretch but don't break. Measure progress. Review and improve. Success is a process. Methods to measure your progress. On deciding a target, it really is necessary to consider ways to measure your progress. Methods to judge one's progress may not be readily available to you. It is, therefore, important that you pick wisely. Number 1. Facts and figures. Quantitative measurement is the simplest method, and it is a more precise method than qualitative. For the targets you have set, you will find a way to quantify progress. When saving money or dieting, record keeping can be simple. One can keep a record in pounds lost or dollars saved. More than one way exists to quantify your progress. For example, for better conditioning, use the following: a weighing balance to measure pounds lost, a measuring tape to ascertain inches lost, a body fat caliper to know differences in body fat percentage. Feel free to use more than one method of measurement. Number 2, stay on plan. Even though you have a few targets that can be realized easily and in record time, for the remainder of your targets you will need a plan. You are able to break each goal down into milestones and sub-targets that can be fixed in a time frame. The time frame allows you to calculate your progress. For example, if the task is to be finished by Sunday, when Sunday comes, the task has either been completed or not. No hiding. An excellent way to stay organized is with a plan. You can easily decide the urgency of your tasks and your major tasks for each day, which enables you to make the best use of your work rate. While adhering to your schedule, give yourself some flexibility. Monitoring your progress is the sole purpose of creating a plan. There are times when a change in plan becomes important. At this juncture, think it over, and if you see the need to make alterations to the plan, relate these changes to anybody who may be affected as soon as possible. Number 3, keep a record. Making records and notes of your progress will give you something to refer to should a need arise. Again, don't rely on your memory alone. A record goes a long way in helping you spot a problem should there be a need for it. Return to those notes where you will have recorded what went wrong and your theories as to why it went wrong. Furthermore, if something works well after a successful trial, it is also your place to record it. This way, you have details of not only the things that never worked, but the things that worked out well so as to repeat them. On completing a task, chances are you will repeat it or try something similar. Referring to those records to see what worked and what didn't is always a good start. Those records arm you with the most precious data to begin the best plan possible. Number 4, checklists. Make a list of tasks that need to be finished and their dates of completion once you have created a plan for realizing your targets. It will be an invaluable checklist. Tick off a task once it is completed and also make a note of the date of completion. In your regular review of your progress for the task, quickly measure progress for the task and recognize any restorative efforts that need to be made. A checklist is a fantastic means of motivating oneself to realize the task. They also do a world of good to your confidence since they serve as a visual representation of the progress you have made thus far. Number 5, rate your progress. Quantitative methods cannot record progress for some tasks, though. There are targets that are qualitative in nature, for instance, boosting one's confidence. Measuring progress on these targets can be made by developing your own rating system. Pick what numbers to use for this system. The most known numbers are 1 through 5 and 1 through 10. A percentage rating system would suffice as well. For an effective approach, make a definition for each point on the scale. For instance, how would you feel if your confidence rates 4 on the 5-point scale? Score your confidence at the same time every day while watching your progress. Plot your scores on a graph for a more perceptible representation of your progress. After setting the target and determining the most suitable method of measuring your progress, set up your rating system. Measuring your progress regularly raises your confidence and it will also motivate you. Observe how your efforts are yielding fruit as you step closer every day to achieving your goal. If you are enjoying this audiobook so far, I'd love it if you went over to audible.com and left me a review. It doesn't have to be fancy, just something short and sweet will do the trick. Thanks for helping me out. Let's continue. Chapter 7. Being mentally tough means taking responsibility. It is never pleasing to take the blame for our life circumstances, particularly when these events are not favorable or totally beyond our control. Nevertheless, Failing to take responsibility puts you at a total disadvantage since you would be approaching the situation from the point of weakness, being the victim of circumstance. Besides, from this position of weakness, there is little or nothing you can do to rescue your condition. In other words, you have totally accepted your fate and admitted being incapable and helpless to change your scenario. Things don't always go as planned or imagined, as life keeps trying us with problems and difficulties. Steering clear from responsibility in these moments does little or nothing to improve our situation. The only answer, even though it is never easy, is to take responsibility. Resisting life and everything it throws at you is certainly not easy. Taking full responsibility for your life and circumstances, no matter the type of predicament you are facing, is the key to gaining personal power and strength. Therefore, one has to openly acknowledge and accept the way things are without an iota of resistance whatsoever. It's time to take responsibility for everything. You heard me right. The time to take absolute responsibility for everything is now. Whether the blame is in your backyard or not, claiming responsibility for everything life sends your way is that key character trait that separates the most successful people from the rest. Furthermore, you stand to derive incredible value from taking responsibility even if success is not something you hold in high esteem. It is incredibly empowering to take responsibility for your life and circumstances because it is a measure of your self-confidence, self-worth, courage, togetherness, and resilience. Taking responsibility is empowering because it gives a sense of control over your life. Simply put, it provides you with assurances that you will conquer regardless of whatever circumstances there are, making you believe in defeating that hurdle or situation at the very end. Taking responsibility is empowering since it influences solution-based thinking, which gives birth to a large number of creative ideas to help solve your problems effectively. You are empowered to take an active role in answering life's problems, which earns you a great deal of respect when people see you. Remember, taking responsibility doesn't mean one is weak or powerless and therefore to be held accountable for everything. There lies a huge divide between blame and responsibility. What it means to accept full responsibility. As stated previously, accepting full responsibility for something means not falling prey to a victim mentality, not bothering about an uncertain future, not giving in to your fears and insecurities, and refusing to regret past choices, decisions, and actions. Taking full responsibility for circumstances in your life means consistently holding yourself accountable. You must view yourself as the creator of your life, just like a sculptor or painter perfecting their craft. Taking full responsibility requires thinking objectively. It requires embracing difficult scenarios while openly accepting your failures and mistakes. Look at the opportunities involved in every problem or situation you find yourself. You are required to make a commitment to self-discipline, and above all, you are required to make that commitment to continuous improvement. Taking full responsibility means not making excuses or throwing away all complaints. No, life is not always fair. Having said that, don't let your insecurities faze you. Clearly realize that you are the creator of your own life, and you alone hold the power to twist things whichever way you choose. How to begin taking full responsibility. In this last section is a 5-step process to consider for when it seems like life is unfair. This process can help you take full responsibility for your life, not minding what difficulties you face. It definitely won't be easy at first to view your predicament this way. With practice, however, you will develop new and empowering habits that will help you make the most of all your situations. Number 1. Acknowledge you are responsible. The first move is an obvious step that requires acknowledging full responsibility for the matter at hand. Number 2, recognize the value of a problem. After taking ownership of the situation, now is the time to recognize the immensity of the problem and the effect it has on you, on others, and on the matter at hand. You also need to know if working through this issue or problem is to your own benefit or if it is best to let it go. Number 3, take ownership of the problem. This problem belongs to you. Admit this fact without an iota of resistance whatsoever. Resistance limits your ability to find the relevant solution to the matter at hand. When you let go of all forms of resistance and accept things the way they are, then you open yourself to worlds of possibilities. Number 4, figure out how to solve the problem. Make it your responsibility to find a way to solve this problem. The first task in getting this done is by identifying layers of control. Layers of control give insights as to the volume of control you have over different aspects of a situation. There may be some angles of a problem that are totally out of your reach and, as a result, completely beyond your control. Let them go. Let them be as they are and focus on the things that you can physically do something about to help resolve the matter at hand. Number 5, take initiative to instigate change. The last step of the process involves launching the much-needed changes you would like to make to fix your situation. In the end, whether you have successfully sorted out your problem or not does not really matter. You took responsibility for your own predicament. You claimed ownership of your situation, and you took matters into your own hands. You were in charge through this process, and you held the reins of power. It is guaranteed that things don't always work out the way we plan, but the reality is that you took control of your situation, thereby committing yourself to implement a positive change. This control speaks volumes about your character. You are no longer that man or that woman who rejects responsibilities, always blaming or making excuses while complaining about your predicament. You have been empowered to take matters into your own hands. Your life, as a result, is no longer at the mercy of other people or circumstances. You are in full control. Anybody in control goes places and always responds proactively to circumstances in optimal ways. It is the key to any kind of success you visualize for yourself and for your life. Now is the time to quit complaining, to quit making excuses, and to let go of all forms of blame. Your life is way too important to wallow in self-pity. Don't you think now is the time to start living your life with purpose and more intention? Chapter 8. Being mentally tough means being comfortable with being uncomfortable. Professional athletes are comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and rightly so. In reality, this mastery alone converts all the hard work they have done leading up to this moment into a triumph. Remember how often titles and championships are won and lost in the dying seconds of a game? These seconds are exactly why athletes need to get comfortable with uncomfortable scenarios. Professional athletes know how to perform under pressure and how to give their best results when a situation calls for them. Any athlete who delivers a match-winning performance in any game, not only in practice or at qualifiers, but also when everybody is watching, no matter the circumstances, failures, mistakes, losses, or near misses, is considered a tough athlete. With adrenaline coursing through their veins, with their heart racing when they are excited, and with everybody depending on them, tough athletes have what it takes to control themselves, and they know that this control counts. Typically, under pressure, people will experience an elevated heart rate, higher blood pressure, and adrenaline rushes. Consequently, their ability to absorb information becomes more limited, and their decision-making skills deteriorate. Thus, they become overly focused as a way to regain control, or they do the complete opposite and lose focus. Take this scene from real life to demonstrate how being comfortable in an uncomfortable situation can be of an advantage to both an athlete and the team. Consider being the coach of a football team playing a very important match. Your top striker has just been injured. She limps off to the sidelines and sits there for most of the match. Every other athlete on your team is playing well in their positions, combining effectively and sending pressure to the box, yet you field more defenders than attackers. In your team, there is another player with an accurate kick. She is an outstanding defender and reads the opposition's tactics perfectly. As a coach, you recognize that her skills could be transferred to a forward position because of her ability to read the game so well. She gets into receiving positions, makes leads, and converts with an accurate kick. If this player is comfortable in an uncomfortable position, she will identify the opportunity and realize what it is like stepping outside her comfort zone, but only for the duration of the match. She will be able to recalibrate her expectations and control her prejudgment, knowing that she possesses your confidence. The opportunity provides her with the potential to handle unforeseen experiences along with a new dimension to her game. When the match is over, she has increased her comfort zone because she believes she can handle more situations. Additionally, she understands how opposition strikers think. Discomfort versus pain. It is necessary to know the difference between pain and discomfort while working up a sweat. Discomfort and effort work hand in hand. Most people call it a good pain. You are generally expected to feel some levels of discomfort, that's the truth. But when discomfort turns into actual pain, burning or stabbing or sharp, that is never a good sign, and you're advised to stop immediately. During an exercise, the discomfort felt from fatigue is normal. On the other hand, acute pain associated with illness or injury is not normal. Anytime you are feeling musculoskeletal or joint pain or anything associated with chest pain, that is your cue to stop exercising immediately. The simplest way of knowing if you are feeling pain or discomfort is to cease the exercise. A small burn that disappears when your muscle stops working is as a result of the exercise, so feel free to go on. However, if this burn continues with you feeling a sharp pain in your knees or a painful twinge in your hamstrings that affects your ability to move, then it is most likely because you have gone too far with the exercise. Stop immediately. What is good pain? Good pain or discomfort is part of the body's adaptation to an activity or physical load. It also reflects positive changes in the body. Good pain is what we know about muscle adaptation to physical loads. When you put a muscle under load or under stress, you cause microscopic injury to the body. This injury stimulates muscle healing, replication of muscle fibers, and ultimately strengthening. We want this good sort of pain after a workout. It prevents injuries and improves our performances. Here is an important tip. Give your body time to recover and recuperate. It is always a bad idea to back up a load immediately afterward or the next day. You might go down the slope or cause further damage. The benefits of discomfort in building character. Discomfort is something we will endure in our lives at one stage or another. The human experience is all about going through pain and upheaval because staying alive is a changing process. These experiences leave us with newfound strength and vision to which many can attest. The basic instinct is to avoid making the wrong choices or participating in dangerous behavior so as to protect ourselves and prevent anything that would cause great trouble and suffering. Our survival depends on it. It is necessary to harness the power of upheaval and realize that something good can be produced from bad circumstances. The most important lessons in life are learned in moments when we are faced with difficulties in which we are poorly equipped to tackle. Helplessness, shock, sadness, and anger begin to set in. Death of a loved one, illness, losing a job, heartbreak, or having mischief committed against us in some way may be the origin. It could be commonplace, but to us, we feel despair that we have never been through before. It could be something catastrophic like war, flood, famine, natural disaster, or poverty. We must awaken to the first realization, which is that we are not the first to feel this way, nor will we be the last. Our experiences and feelings may be valid and unique to us. In the final script of the plot, however, be assured that there exist some people who have been through worse and survived to tell their stories. We are never alone. The human nature is about going through a steady change. It is also about understanding that all we have is the present moment. This realization pushes us to focus on what we are truly passing through. The present is an illusion of fear or hope, while the past is an illusion of memories. The reality alone is now. The explanation of this context is that while we may be in the middle of pain and chaos, we should understand that every moment is fleeting and will move, but we possess the power to decide if the moment improves or the situation worsens. Even if we are helpless in making things go our way, realizing this inevitability while waiting it out grants us the foresight, along with the lucidity, to merely observe what we are experiencing while extracting the skills and lessons that will affect us to our good. Discomfort in life helps in character growth since it makes you feel alive. The variety of emotions you endure when your situation becomes unstable forces you to possess a long range of responses that you never knew existed while things were normal. Problem-solving skills, resilience, patience, and ingenuity are what you gain if you can manage your fear, confusion, grief, and anger by focusing on the present. Place yourself in the center and allow yourself to feel without allowing those feelings to dictate your pace and actions. Reason and pragmatism will surface and provide you with the strength to progress to the next moment as a capable and stronger person. Avoiding tragedy or disappointment as an act of self-preservation is the opposite. A life filled with ease becomes boring as it provides no challenge. Sadly, it becomes just a matter of time before life's hardships come knocking on our door. It is inevitable. It is fundamental to know that the highs and lows of life are necessary for our character to develop and for us to undergo growth through purification. Here's what that means. We undergo some form of transformation, a purification or cleansing by way of suffering and change. We cleanse our emotions through a disastrous occurrence and eventually find restoration and resolution at the end. When we refuse to honor the advantages of purgation in our lives, we subconsciously invite chaos, often through satisfactions and hazardous behaviors that look safe and innocent, but may lead us down a very dangerous road. Excesses in our life can be damaging, which makes it even more necessary to stay in control at the point where our lives seem to be veering off track. Knowing that life's challenges make us who we are grants us the strength and purpose that will prepare us for anything. Our personality and character progress through each cleansing experience, and with practice, we face misfortune head-on with newfound optimism. The powerful effects of uncomfortable adversity in building mental toughness. Number 1. Discomfort allows growth. Whether you are talking emotionally, doing something different can be hard. Mentally, thinking about new things, concepts, and ideas requires energy. Physically, it is really hard to become more fit while sitting comfortably in your favorite chair. You won't grow until you break the protections of your comfort zone. If you want more of things in life, from a healthy relationship to healthy body weight, a fat bank account, and every other thing that follows, the need to grow in knowledge, skills, habits, and more arises. Growth is a must, and all true growth occurs away from the comfort zone. Number 2. Discomfort builds confidence. You must have noticed that the more you do something, the greater your confidence. What is the way to get better at something? Is it doing it precisely the way you did it before? Not so. Confidence and competence arise from practicing and testing new waters in order to improve. See the connection? Confidence is difficult to build while sitting in a comfortable chair. Number 3. Discomfort provides creativity. Creativity is a product of necessity. People start new things, concepts, products, and ideas when faced with a problem or in some way or out of their comfort zone. Creativity is often tapped to help regain comfort. Great. Here's the point. When you feel or observe discomfort or a lack of satisfaction with your condition, you will be provided with the drive to be innovative and creative in order to find a solution. For more creativity, search for your discomfort. Number 4. Discomfort overcomes resistance to change. When comfortable, one is more likely to change, almost by definition. When lacking satisfaction or becoming uncomfortable with how things are, we are more open to change to create a brighter situation and eventually create a higher phase of comfort. Number 5. Discomfort facilitates goal achievement. Here, the other 4 points meet. In search of more learning, growth, promotions, profits, etc., you must willingly step a long way out of your comfort zone. Do I want my ambition so badly to put up with some forms of discomfort or fear? This question should arise when you understand that the very discomfort will motivate you toward your goals. If so, perfect. You know exactly what to do. Chapter 9. Being mentally tough means being able to manage your time well. Having many tasks to handle within a short period of time is now part of the daily routine for most of us. Daily assignments or tasks at home seem to take most parts of the day, leaving little time for relaxation and fun. However, you can decide how to spend your time. Setting aside time for the most important activities first before the less important ones can lead to success and satisfaction. Most of us keep grumbling that the hours of the day aren't sufficient to complete daily tasks. However, 24 hours is more than enough time to carry out the most important tasks in our lives. All you need to do is learn the art of time management. That way, you can always make time for the people who are dear to you as well as other important activities. What then is time management? Time management is the ability of an individual to plan and control how he spends the hours in a day in a way that he can effectively accomplish his goals. He must manage time between various facets of life, such as work, family, social life, and time for fun. It is imperative to set clear goals and prioritize important activities in order to set aside non-essential tasks that are time-consuming and to monitor what actually takes most of the hours in a day. A good work environment that encourages efficiency is important. Poor time management is closely related to procrastination, lack of self-control, or distracting problems. To overcome these behaviors, organizational psychologists encourage the concept of setting up a work atmosphere that enhances productivity and efficiency. But this environment differs from one individual to another. Some individuals prefer a neat desk while others do better in a creative mess. These days, deadlines are also important for some people, giving them a set period to complete a task at hand. In order to meet up, it is imperative to turn off electronic devices and reduce or avoid email correspondence. Before rolling out some principles, let's consider the key points and questions below. Questions to uncover assumptions about mental strength thinking. What are your best time management strategies? Can time be managed? Do you believe it is possible to be motivated by the scarcity of time? Baseless assumptions about time management. Other people manage my time for me. At work, the time ticks slowly but goes fast, and on the weekend, it goes too quickly to manage. Time management is simply a waste of time. Mental strength viewpoint about time management. I am thankful for all the time I have. I cherish my time at home and also enjoy my time at work. Managing activities helps me get the most out of every second of the day. Outrageous questions. In a range of 1 to 9, 9 being best, how well are you managing your time? What do you think can be done to improve your time management skills? What percentage of time during the day do you spend on unproductive activities? Reflective questions. What assumptions keep you from managing your time more effectively? If you could choose a role model when it comes to time management, who would it be and why? Is it possible to manage your time a day before you go on vacation the same way you do during the work week? The importance of time management. Why is time management important, or improving your concentration and focus? You may say, I don't want to protect my time or put in the extra effort or be over-concentrated. Sorry, but those are mere excuses because the effort will pay off at the end of the day. Time management should make extra time for you rather than take your time. It is also about making sure that you spend your time on the most important tasks. It should not take much effort, but it definitely requires self-discipline. But the outcome of time management far outweighs the efforts. Listed below are life benefits of time management. Reduced stress. Managing your time can directly lessen your stress level. For example, you will have a few surprises, a few tight deadlines, but less jumping from task to task and place to place. Avoid time wasting. You waste less time on idle activities when you know what you need to do. Rather than wondering what to do next, you can already be a step ahead of your work. Boost productivity. When you are conscious of what needs to be done, you will be able to better manage your tasks. Yes, being productive is one of the major aims of time management. You will do more with less time. Boost to your reputation. Your reputation as someone who manages time will precede you. No one will question whether you're going to show up, keep your word, or meet that deadline. At work and in life, you will be known as reliable. More free time. We can't create more time, but you can make wise use of it by effectively managing your time. We can produce more leisure time in your life by trying out simple actions, such as changing your mode of transportation or getting your work done early. Fewer reworks. Forgotten details, items, and instructions lead to extra work. Being organized can result in less rework and mistakes. You can ask yourself how often you have repeated a task or made an extra trip because you forgot something. Fewer problems in life. How often do you create your own problems? Whether it is a forgotten appointment or missed deadline, not managing your time results in increased life friction. Planning and preparing for your day can help you avoid creating your own problems. More opportunities. Being in control of your time and work offers more opportunities. Luck favors the prepared, and early birds always have more opportunities. Reduced effort. A popular misconception about time management is that it takes extra effort. On the contrary, with proper time management, your life will be easier. You will begin to apply less effort at things, be it finishing up a project or packing for a trip. More time where it matters. The concept of managing your time comes from allotting your time to where it has the most effect. With efficient time management, you are allowed to give your time to things that matter to you most. Helpful principles on time management. Each principle is closely connected to the previous one, so you need to examine each one thoroughly. It is also a stepwise guide to time management. These principles will help you become more time efficient. Each task should draw you closer to your goals. The principles and importance of setting the right goal should be meaningful and important to you. For example, just learning football cannot be the goal itself. Rather, your goal should be able to kick the ball and make 20 shots in 20 minutes, and playing football is a way to achieve this goal. The benefit of setting goals is that if you have set the right goals, you will be much more inspired to achieve them. Thus, you will be more productive and time efficient. When you set the right goals, you can prioritize those activities when planning your time. Divide big tasks into minor pieces. There's one principle of time management that goes, to eat a whale, you need to cut it into smaller pieces. If you have a very big project, you might be overwhelmed by the complexities and lack of clarity of how to do it. Divide it into smaller activities so that you will have a clear path of how to get it done. At the end of the day, it may turn out not as big and difficult as you expected. Unsavory and minor things first. When planning your activities, you should treat the important and unsavory things first. In order for you to remember this time management principle, there's a saying for it: eat the frogs first. Starting the day with such activities will make you feel relieved, and the next task will be easier. If you don't do the unsavory things first, after doing other activities, you will think of the unsavory ones you left all day and feel badly that you still need to do them. Also, you should do minor things early in the day, as it will feel like you have done much in the first few minutes of the day. These tasks can include calling your companions, checking email, composing a message to a friend, planning some events for the day, and the like. Keep breaks in mind. You might feel high-spirited and productive for a while, but gradually you start losing the vibe, and the rest of the day you end up leaving most tasks unfinished. What could be the cause? Simply put, the lack of breaks in your work. You or your supervisor might be of the opinion that if you don't utilize all 8 of the working hours daily, you might do less, but this assumption is wrong. You may be able to accomplish more and be more productive during the day if you take breaks at intervals. It could be as short as a 5-minute break for espresso, a breath of fresh air, a simple snack, or a short stroll around the office building. During this period, I advise you to stay away from your laptop and, if possible, your working place so you can relax. Stay away from your phone, social media, etc. Also, take business off your mind. If you are self-employed or work from home, you may also take a break once in a while, especially when you feel tired and not motivated. It is not always possible to estimate the amount of rest you might need. You might do a lot according to your schedule or make minor breaks as planned. Once you feel that you're not productive enough, simply take a longer break, changing the task entirely. Having a short rest, such as a 20-minute nap, is ideal. If you decide to take a longer rest, you will feel even more tired when you wake. Within 20 minutes, you can have a decent rest and relax sufficiently without falling into a deep sleep, and at the same time be more productive, hence saving time. You will be more active and productive after taking this break than you would being tired. Don't fight it. Just rest. Pomodoro technique of time management. Pomodoro technique is another popular method of time management. Francesco Cirillo, an Italian man, developed it late in the 1980s. The name, Pomodoro, Italian, originates from the kitchen timer in the form of a tomato. As you could have speculated, the method utilizes a timer for each assignment. The timer is set at 25 minutes per task, with short 3 to 5 minute breaks at intervals. After 4 sessions, you take a 15 to 30 minute break. Each task lasts 25 minutes because, according to the author, you stay very active for 25 minutes. There are other contrasting studies that state that a person's most motivation comes within the first 40 to 45 minutes. After that, his motivation and concentration begins to fall, so he needs a break. After some years of researching to improve my time efficiency and productivity, I discovered that personally, the ideal time is 55 minutes of activity with 5 minutes of break. Also, I make a longer break of 30 minutes after every 3 hours, and an even longer break lasting 60 minutes by noon. This schedule comes from the average length of my assignments, which is 1 to 2 hours. This schedule can be adjusted depending on your needs and activities. You can try out other schedules to find an ideal combination of work-break times for you. Change different kinds of activities. In a work situation, you should change the type of activity to relax more efficiently. To drive home the point, here's an example. Let's say you are planning to work, engage in an exercise, study for an exam, and learn a foreign language. It is advisable to alternate these activities. Jumping from one activity to another could feel like rest. At times, when I had to prepare for an exam, instead of studying for another 60 minutes, I would run to the park or learn some French. It re-energized me, and I felt motivated when I returned to studying. In sports, regular physical activity will make you healthier and fit. Also, it will give you more mental energy, and if you do it in midday, it will refresh your mind. In addition, during some of my 40-minute breaks, many ideas come to my mind that wouldn't come if I stayed at my computer. Reserve some time for sudden tasks. Another study regarding time management showed that you need to apportion an average of 20% of your time as a buffer for sudden tasks. Sometimes you are unable to determine how long a particular task will take, and some might take more time than you imagined. If you plan all your time, you will often find yourself under stressful conditions and under time pressure. To prevent these feelings, allot some time for sudden tasks or plan some extra time to complete the expected ones. Use the above principles to schedule your activities. Since my mid-teens, I have kept a diary to plan my daily activities hour by hour. My hourly activities are the only things that I always pen down. The rest of my information is on my computer. You need to carefully plan the activities of every hour of your working day, sometimes even weekends, if you don't want to waste it. Simply choosing the right activities is not enough to be successful and time efficient. I have observed a couple of times that I am more efficient when I have planned the activities for the day. That way, I know when I need to hurry and what activity will be next. I suggest you get such a diary as well. Also, I suggest you plan your day in the evening of the previous day and not in the morning. Then you will go to bed with a sketch of your activities for the next day and how they are expected to run. Make minor rewards for completed tasks. Another way to stay inspired when trying to reach your goals is to create some compensations for yourself when you finish some tasks, most especially the bigger ones. It can be a nice espresso from the coffee shop close by, a cup of warm chocolate, or something bigger, like a new car in a case of big accomplishments. Yes, you need to be motivated to achieve your goals, but if it is not forthcoming, you will likely lose motivation and back out. These little compensations will keep you going. Avoid multitasking and distractions. Another key principle of time management is that you should not do multiple tasks at the same time. Thus, you may not be efficient in any of them. There are some cases, however, when you can do two things at a time. For example, relaxing in your car, doing some jogging, or just taking a stroll from one point to another. You can listen to audiobooks or language audio courses to efficiently utilize your time. But in other cases, when you try to combine multiple activities, it might take even more time, and maybe you will need to repeat them if the quality doesn't satisfy your client or supervisor. You must also avoid distractions. For example, responding promptly to Facebook, WhatsApp, or email, or watching some funny video that your friend sent you could distract you from your task. You will waste time on a non-relevant activity and lose concentration on your work. What I suggest is setting aside 20 minutes at the start of your working day and 20 minutes during your lunch break for these possible distractions. For the rest of the working hour, stay away from all unnecessary activities or turn off notifications on your computer and phone. Turn off the internet on your mobile phone while working on your computer. Listening to productive music, like a piece of relatively fast music without words, is recommended. It will keep you from all outside distractions and help you focus on your current task. Chapter 10. Being mentally strong means to have a positive outlook. What is mental strength? Mental strength refers to the ability to control your feelings, manage your thoughts, and behave in a positive manner irrespective of your situation. Developing mental strength is about finding the strength to live according to your values and being bold enough to have your own definition of success. Mental strength requires hard work and commitment rather than just willpower. It is about developing healthy habits and deciding to focus your time and energy on self-development. The significance of mental strength is summarized by the legendary basketball coach Bobby Knight, who once said, "Mental strength is to physical as 4 is to 1." That's how imperative it is to be mentally strong. But what exactly is mental strength? Here's my own thought on the concept of mental strength. Everything depends on your mindset. When we waste our thoughts like that, it is synonymous to wasting our time. And if care is not taken, we can end up wasting our lives. Mental strength also refers to the capacity to make your mindset work for you rather than against you. When you realize that, for the average individual, more than 9 out of every 10 thoughts are either negative thoughts that are hurting your career, your loved ones, and your health at worst, or complete wastes of time at best, you discover just how vital it is to make building mental strength a top priority in your life. Becoming a mentally tough individual does not happen by accident. A concerted effort to have your self-talk and overall outlook under control has to be made by you. Constantly feeding your mind positively, eliminating the negative noise and cynicism, and visualizing positive future results are priorities you must make. Rather than focus on the events you have no control over, you must eliminate pointless worries and concentrate on your responses. Additionally, you must be aware that your attitude is a choice. It drives all that you do and how well you do it. People are usually dumbfounded by how negative their own self-talk is when they begin to pay close attention to it. They tell themselves that everything will end up badly, that they are not good enough, and that the world is out to get them. They tell themselves to give up and then search for an easy way out. Rather than concentrate on all the reasons why they can accomplish something, they focus on all the reasons why they can't. In essence, they address themselves in a manner in which they would never address a friend, or even an enemy for that matter. Discipline and effort are what it takes to change this negative mindset. And truthfully, it is difficult. More than 90% of all our thoughts are the exact opposite of what we should desire them to be. Toughness is needed to fight against that trend. That is what mental toughness is all about, and it is vital that you should make it a priority in your life. You cannot passively let your mind think in the negative way the outside world has programmed it to think. That negativity has to be fought against by you. You need to take total control and claim ownership of your mindset. Courage, discipline, and consistent effort is required, but developing mental toughness is worth the effort. Regard mental toughness as something serious. Mental toughness is not only a well-known self-improvement phrase, it is fundamental to a life that is happy and successful. Differences between emotional intelligence and positive mindset. Researchers are continuously making advances in having a better understanding of positive thinking and its effect on a wide scope of psychological, emotional, and social factors. Emotional intelligence, at the same time, continues to gain ground as a well-known skill set to enhance one's effectiveness in relationships. Our brains are, to a great extent, more adaptable than previously thought, as shown by most research on how the brain functions at a physiological level. Now, we know that by including deliberate patterns of behavior into practice in our everyday lives, we can actually change the manner in which our brains function. Adaptation to opportunities and adversity in the natural world and our society has been developed by the human brain over millennia. Situations like psychological negativity, bias, or the tendency to catastrophize simple adversity have evolved to aid us in surviving life's pressures and threats. In numerous ways, however, these automatic reactions do not lend themselves to the environment of modern civilization. Human brains are still wired to shield us against physical threats to our survival, and they place old patterns of behavior to work against modern relationships' emotional threats. We have to discover approaches to adapt our natural neurological responses to react to modern adversities in more appropriate and beneficial ways. It has been traditionally thought that changing our mentality, our knowledge and comprehension, is the key to changing our outward conduct. Novel research disclosed that the opposite could hold true as well. We can actually change the manner in which we think and process adversity in the first instance by deliberately changing our outward behavior. Certainly, a vital initial step in changing our behavioral habits is understanding our emotions and our mindset's driving factors. But practicing new habits can likewise be a solid initial step in changing these driving factors for good. The keys to mental and emotional adaptability encouragement lie in first identifying and understanding what is happening with our minds and behavior in moments when adversity occurs, then developing practical strategies to check and control our responses over time. The result is the substitution of ancient counterproductive habits with habits that are new and effective. You can compartmentalize the skills of keeping up with a positive mindset and the competencies of emotional intelligence as different models or concepts at first glance. Closer scrutiny, however, discloses that, with complementary skills, the two can actually reinforce each other. Further breakthroughs in other areas can occur from making a breakthrough in one mental or social skill, and this breakthrough frequently comes into play between emotional intelligence and positive reasoning. Self-talk and emotional intelligence. One hallmark of individuals with a positive mindset and healthy optimism is the ability to identify negative self-talk and turn it into a positive direction. Self-talk can, however, be challenging to spot or control in the moment. More often than not, we are only aware of the degree of our negative self-talk when we reflect on a past situation. One's ability to identify and react to varying emotions as they arise can be enhanced by the emotional intelligence competency of self-focused emotional awareness, which develops a similar kind of inner listening skill required to recognize and control self-talk. Half of the self-talk battle has already been mastered by the individuals who possess a strong awareness of their own feelings. People's inner narrative can be influenced over time by instantaneous emotional responses, focusing it more toward a negative or positive bias. The ability to identify a conflict or stress-initiated feeling in oneself can aid in foreseeing and catching negative self-talk before it leads to counterproductive behavior. By transforming negative self-talk into realistic and encouraging thoughts, a positive impact can be made on your emotions, and a virtuous cycle of reinforcement can be deployed. Emotion regulation's EQ, emotional quotient, competency can also help individuals in the fight to control self-talk. For a healthier outlook, the exact skills used to balance emotions in oneself can be used to balance internal dialogues. Once more, controlling one's self-talk can help assist emotion regulation in the same way emotion regulation helps control negative self-talk. These connections help us see exactly how interwoven emotional intelligence, resiliency, and positive reasoning really are. Additionally, habits of positive thinking can help an individual in mastering other emotional intelligence skills. Think of empathy. An individual can be freed from self-focused negative thoughts by a positive mindset, enabling him to pay more attention to other people's needs and perspectives. Before one is able to effectively recognize and react to other people, he must have control over his own emotional impulses. The principles and practices of developing a positive mindset. Number 1. Begin the day with a positive affirmation. The tone for what is left of the day is set by how you begin the morning. Have you at any point ever woken up late, panicked, and afterward had a feeling that nothing good happened the rest of the day? This thought is likely because you began the day with a negative feeling and a pessimistic view that carried into every other event you encountered. Begin your day with positive attestations rather than letting this negativity dominate you. Converse with yourself in the mirror, even if you feel silly, with statements such as, "Today will be a great day," or "I will be awesome today." How much your day improves will stun you. Number 2. Concentrate on the good things, however small. You are going to experience obstacles all through the day. A perfect day does not exist. Concentrate on the advantages regardless of how slight or irrelevant they appear to be when you encounter such a challenge. If you get stuck in traffic, for instance, focus on thoughts such as how you now have time to listen to whatever is left of your most loved podcast. Think about the excitement of trying something new if the store is out of the food you want to make. Number 3. Discover humor in bad situations. Even in the darkest or most challenging situations, allow yourself to experience humor. Try to crack jokes about the situation and remind yourself that it will presumably make for a good story later. Let's assume you were fired. Imagine the most bizarre way your last day could be spent or the most absurd job you could look for next, like a bubblegum sculptor or a kangaroo handler. Number 4. Transform failures into lessons. No one is perfect. You will commit errors and encounter failure in more than one context at numerous jobs and with numerous individuals. Think about what you will do next time rather than focus on how you failed. Your failure should be transformed into a lesson. Conceptualize this lesson in solid rules. For instance, as a result, You could come up with 3 new principles for managing projects. Number 5. Change negative self-talk into positive self-talk. Negative self-talk can easily creep up and is often hard to take note of. You may be of the opinion that I'm awful at this or I shouldn't have attempted that. But these thoughts become internalized emotions and may cement your conceptions of yourself. Pause and replace those negative messages with positive messages when you find yourself doing it. For instance, I'm so awful at this turns into, once I get more practice, I'll be much better at this. I shouldn't have attempted this turns into, that didn't go as planned, perhaps next time. Number 6. Concentrate on the present. I'm talking about the present, only this particular moment. Not today, not this hour. You may be getting berated by your boss, but what in this particular moment is going on that is so awful? Disregard the statement he made 5 minutes ago. Disregard what he may say a few minutes from now. Concentrate on this one moment. You will discover that it is not as awful as you imagine it to be in most situations. Most sources of negativity stem from the memory of a recent occasion or the exaggerated imagination of a potential future occurrence. Remain in the present moment. Number 7. Find positive friends, mentors, and colleagues. You will hear positive outlooks, positive stories, and positive assertions when you are surrounded by positive people. Their positive words will sink in and influence your own line of reasoning, which subsequently has an effect on your words and similarly contributes to the group. It can be hard to find positive individuals to fill up your life, but before it consumes you, you have to do away with the negativity in your life. To enhance the positivity of other individuals, do all you can and let their positivity influence you the same way. Chapter 11. Being mentally tough means having the discipline to do the difficult things. Managing our willpower to achieve things that are generally seen as desirable is referred to as self-discipline, and utilizing that exact willpower to abstain from doing things that are regarded as undesirable or to postpone gratifications is referred to as self-control. The two concepts are often utilized interchangeably and are based on similar mechanisms. It isn't clear that self-control is good in all cases. Lack of self-control may sometimes provide spontaneous experiences that are important to unleash our creativity. Regardless, it appears that getting a grip on our willpower is fundamental to achieving success in life. Transforming this control into a habit makes it look like you have a superpower that allows you to be highly effective and productive when necessary. Sometimes it appears like individuals with extraordinary self-control aren't hardworking. However, that's because they have made it automatic. Willpower is a skill that functions like a muscle. It must undergo training to be strengthened, and it becomes weak when it is not utilized enough. As studies have shown, individuals who make an effort to visit the gym daily, apart from being in better shape, end up smoking less, drinking less alcohol and caffeine, eating less junk food, and watching less television. They are much more productive and depression is lessened. A study carried out among individuals who had established a good habit of study or expenses control, for example, showed the same result. When you train your self-discipline in one aspect of your life, it helps you apply it in other aspects. Moreover, like muscles, willpower is likewise depleted when we thoroughly utilize it. You'll presumably not be able to immediately carry out a task you find boring if you have made a great deal of effort to eat something you dislike, instead of something you do like. This probability is the reason why it is recommended to carry out the vital tasks first thing in the morning when one's willpower is still intact. There are definitely good habits you want to develop and bad habits you want to discard. However, there is that paramount habit that will assist you with all other habits. Through self-discipline, you will be able to accomplish any goal you have set. Self-discipline, a must-develop habit for mental toughness. Michael Jordan practiced and trained daily. Only after concentrating on his training and doing away with the internet did chess grandmaster Wesley So become the world's #2 without a coach. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart went through intensive training from a tender age. His skill as a composer rivaled the majority of his old and established peers by the age of 10. You can bet that these very successful individuals have had their considerable share of bad days. Getting out of bed for training must have felt like scaling Mount Everest on some days, and you can be sure that for more fun and less challenging interests, they had thoughts of ditching practice. But most of the time, they didn't. These fine people most likely fell prey to distractions and temptations occasionally. They did not allow guilt and feelings of negativity to paralyze them in their progress, however. There is a catch, though. Strengthening your resolve and self-discipline is difficult. Developing self-discipline feels uncomfortable. If you look on Amazon, you will find the motivation and self-help section loaded with more than 89,000 books. When it comes to self-discipline, however, the topic doesn't have its own section, and a search yields just 8,700 plus books. You can observe the same pattern in Reddit. While the Get Motivated subreddit boasts more than 10 million subscribers, the Get Disciplined one has just 206,806 members. Additionally, when you check out YouTube, videos of rousing speeches are easier found than videos on how self-control can be developed. Why the lopsided preference for encouraging motivation instead of getting disciplined? The answer is this: because developing self-discipline is not comfortable. Beginning a project or task is not difficult when motivation is in place. You're happy, you're pumped up, and the logical follow-up is the decisive action. However, when strengthening self-discipline, you're not as enthusiastic about an assignment. Perhaps you feel neutral. You want to do something else like watch TV, chat on Facebook, or play computer games. Anything that is more enjoyable than the assignment that needs completing. But you must focus on what has to be done. It is hard, in simpler words. But isn't that what is required to be tough mentally? Having the discipline to carry out the difficult things? Habits to develop to build your mental toughness. Number 1. Always be willing to learn. Number 2. Be ready to adjust. Number 3. Give. Number 4. Think outside the norm. Number 5. Always believe in yourself. Number 6. Be a responsible individual. Number 7. Be self-aware. Number 8. Assume control. Number 9. Concentrate on one thing at a time. Number 10. Have a set time to move around. Number 11. Give yourself an everyday mindfulness break. Number 12. Set out some moments for self-care. Number 13. Set limits and stick with them. Number 14. Don't be scared to reach out for help. How to create habits. You can create a new habit that requires little effort to maintain with a small measure of initial discipline. Here are a few hints for creating new habits and making them stick. Number 1. Commit to 30 days. To make a habit automatic, 21 days to 30 days is all the time you need. The habit becomes less difficult to sustain if you can endure the first conditioning phase. For you to commit to a change, a month is a great block of time since it fits easily in your calendar. Number 2. Make it daily. If you want a habit to stick, it is critical to be consistent. Go to the gym each day for your first 30 days if you decide to start exercising. Going a few times a week will make it more difficult to form the habit. It is trickier to lock in activities you only do once every couple of days as habits. Number 3. Start simple. Don't make attempts to totally change your life in a day. It is not difficult to become overly motivated and take on too much. If you want to study for 2 hours each day, start with a half an hour and build on that. Number 4. Remind yourself. You may find the habit easy to forget about 14 days into your commitment. Place reminders to carry out your habit daily, or you may miss a couple of days. Missing time defeats the purpose of setting a habit in the first place. Number 5. Remain consistent. The more consistent you are with your habit, the less difficult it will be to stick to it. If you want to start working out, make attempts to go at the same time to a similar place for 30 days. It becomes easier to commit when cues like time of day, place, and conditions are similar in each case. Number 6. Get a friend. Find someone who will go on the journey with you and keep you motivated if you feel like giving up. Number 7. Form a trigger. Right before you execute your habit, a trigger can be a ritual you utilize. In the event that you want to get out of bed earlier, you can try waking up in exactly the same way every morning. If you have the desire to stop smoking, you can snap your fingers every time you feel the desire to pick up a cigarette. Number 8. Replace lost needs. If you are doing away with something in your habit, ensure any needs you have lost are adequately replaced. If watching television helps you relax, you can take up reading or meditation as an approach to replace that very need. Number 9. Be imperfect. Do not have expectations that every one of your attempts to change habits will be successful immediately. Before I began to work out regularly, it cost me 4 independent tries. Now I'm in love with it. Expect a couple of bumps along the way, but try your very best. Number 10. Use but. A noticeable habit-changing therapist once disclosed this incredible method for changing awful thought patterns. Use the word but to interrupt negative thoughts when you begin to think about them. I'm not great at this, but if I work at it, I may see improvements later. Number 11. Eliminate temptation. Restructure your environment so it won't entice you in the first month. Eliminate junk food from your home, cancel your cable subscription, or toss out the cigarettes so you won't have to struggle with willpower later on. Number 12. Associate with role models. More time should be spent with individuals who model the habits you want to mirror. Having an obese friend is an indication that you are more likely to end up fat. What you spend time around is what you become. Number 13. Run it as an experiment. Withhold your judgment until a month has passed. View it as an experiment. Experiments have distinct outcomes, so it will give you a perspective that differs on changing your habit. Number 14. Swish. Imagine yourself performing the awful habit. Then imagine yourself pushing the awful habit aside and doing the alternative. Next, have an image of yourself in an exceedingly positive state. Imagine yourself picking up the cigarette. Imagine yourself dropping it and snapping your fingers. Now imagine yourself running and breathing freely. Do this exercise a couple of times until you go through the pattern automatically before carrying out the old habit. Number 15. Write it down. A piece of paper with a resolution written on it is not that essential. Writing that resolution is important. Your ideas are clearer with writing, and it helps you concentrate on your final result. Number 16. Know the benefits. Make yourself familiar with the advantages of making a change. Obtain books that expatiate on the advantages of consistent exercise. After you start a new diet, notice any adjustment in energy levels. Visualize obtaining better grades after you have improved your study habits. Number 17. Know the pain. In addition, you should be fully aware of the consequences. You will have added motivation by exposing yourself to practical information about the downsides of not affecting a change. Number 18. Do it for yourself. You should not worry about all the things you should possess as habits. Tool your habits towards your goals instead, and the things that are a source of motivation for you. Weak guilt and void resolutions are not sufficient. Principles to decrease hesitation in creating habits. Terrified of failure? Have imaginations. Failure is a word that suggests some type of end. It is an icky word. But it is just a stage in the journey to gaining new knowledge. Make an assumption that you will fail and accept it. As big and as clearly as possible, close your eyes and envision your failure. Enable yourself to go through the hurt and shame in your mind, then walk yourself through the getting up and brushing it off like it never happened process. Now imagine yourself 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years afterward. And look at that. All is well. Until you are genuinely persuaded that failure is a perfectly great option, perform this visualization technique frequently. Do you find yourself paying so much attention to details? Have a rethink. Trying to get as close to perfection as possible has its advantages, yet the challenge comes when it is time to handle a task with which you are not familiar. It is quite easy to derail from the main point when you are trying to cross all the T's and trying to know every detail by asking questions like how, where, why, who, the list goes on. Before you realize what is happening, you are already exhausted, yet the major work is left undone. To overcome this limitation, make a list of each stage in an orderly fashion, one step after another. Set a time limit or a deadline and work with it. This time limit will help you avoid wasting too much time on details. Once the time limit is up, it is time to make a decision to pick an option that you feel is preferable and move on to the next stage on the list. Feeling discouraged? Try self-talk. Perhaps you have motivated yourself to try something new, but after the fantasy is over, you realize it was not the best choice and things got difficult. It may sound strange, but the best person to talk to at that moment is your future self. Recently, I decided to start jogging. During a particularly tough round, I imagined myself in the future as a runner who had just completed his first marathon. I am pleased with myself. I feel proud and accomplished because I am fast and I am strong. This outcome was only possible because I kept pushing myself and got a little better with every run. If I had been too easy on myself, I would not have made it this far, especially those days when I felt like giving up. I wouldn't be able to make a short distance race, let alone finish a marathon. You will find out that what stands between you and that ideal future version of yourself is just that little more work that is needed. In the end, that was the most rewarding and longest run I have had so far. Shooting for perfection? Engage others. We all long to do a great job, but some of us are more concerned with perfection than others. Worrying about perfection can drain one's energy and can stop you from enjoying yourself. You can lose confidence in yourself, which can prolong your new journey. Move out of your zone of perfection by becoming responsible to others. As soon as you decide to take a new step, call a trusted friend, share your new adventures, or post on social media that you have started a new routine or begun your weight loss exercise. You will be shocked by how many people will be inspired and interested, or better yet, you will see that no one is expecting you to be perfect. You will likely open up the possibility of a joint effort, which can change your concept of what perfection or flawlessness means. Chapter 12. Being mentally strong means living for a future purpose. Deep down, all of us desire to develop and grow in the four segments of wellness: physical, spiritual, mental, and emotional. Each part affects the other, which therefore implies that they are all intertwined and dependent on each other. Every day, as we put in every effort to build upon our core values, we become smarter, stronger, and more confident. We get tougher. There are a number of definitions out there about what strength means. Most often, it is assigned a negative meaning. Strength is defined as tough and durable, not easily broken, capable of great endurance, sturdy. Let's examine each one. Capable of great endurance, tough and durable. Aren't those qualities you hope for as you transform into the man or woman you desire to be? Mentally, we desire to become determined, confident, and committed in the way we handle our daily activities. Emotionally, while it is always good to be generous and vulnerable, it is equally as important to be bold, hopeful, and faithful despite fear. Spiritually, getting connected to what makes us who we are isn't easy. It takes time. It takes endurance and perseverance fighting difficult battles from within. Also, physically, it is imperative to develop our muscles and tend the vessel that enables us to make this journey called life. Anyone who takes good care of themselves is tough. They're able to withstand life's bruises, scrapes, bumps, and nicks. They become stronger through trials and failures and move on to victories. I have spent a lot of time mentoring and working with successful and top-performing groups. I have taken the lead in helping them develop soft skills and their emotional intelligence. I have identified their strengths and weaknesses and helped them break through and build upon both failures and successes. I have discovered that resilient individuals aren't born that way. They begin as clay and are then shaped into refined, beautiful artwork. Life isn't easy, but you don't give up, ever. Refusing to give up is where grit comes in. Grit is the desire and perseverance to achieve long-term goals. Everybody who demonstrates exceptional grit is pursuing something that has a purpose. What is purpose? The meaning of purpose is relative and not absolute, and everyone is entitled to a personal definition. A purpose gives you strong intrinsic inspiration to succeed no matter the challenges you may face. It helps you keep fighting even when you are faced with crushing pain because the pain of discipline is more bearable than the pain of regret. Such is the power of purpose. You do not necessarily need a big or abstract idea. All you need is to look to individuals, things, or values that you care about to find your purpose. A soldier fights hard for the man beside him on the battlefield. Parents wake up every night to attend to the cries of their baby and stroke the baby to sleep. Activists gather support for their requests, even though most campaigns are disappointingly inefficient at influencing political decisions. People work very hard for what they believe in, no matter the challenges. Mentally tough individuals are able to endure trials and tribulations because they have a force driving them from inside, a purpose. Purpose allows them to endure and keep going through difficult times. When a person can uncover and realize their beliefs and values, they will have a clear path as to where they have been and, more importantly, where they are headed. By discovering beliefs and values, a person can be in control of his life by adjusting and changing those values and beliefs that prevent him from reaching his peak personal success, personal performance, and purpose in life. Identifying your values. According to the great philosopher Aristotle, there is a set of core values that should manifest themselves in the behavior of all human beings. These are courage, honesty, rationality and judgment, friendliness, wittiness, courage, mutually beneficial friendships, and the pursuit of knowledge and truth. What do you value? Is it honesty, happiness, empathy, compassion, vitality, power, integrity, flexibility, openness? There are dozens of values, but you currently will be living your life according to about 4 to 8 vital values. Pause for a while and pin down 4 things that you cherish, or create a picture of yourself in the center of a page and fill your body with your core values. Now that you have listed your values, ask yourself, what does this list reveal about my life? This list is the core of your life. It is the foundation or center of everything you do. The decision you make in life is based on this list. You may be ignorant of the fact that you make decisions based on this list, but you do. Examine your life. Every decision you have made so far was based on these values. At times, you may try to ignore or suppress these feelings. You actually deny them. So when you make certain choices that are not in harmony with your values, either the outcome is undesirable or you get the feeling that something is wrong somewhere. When we make these types of decisions, we deny our true self who we really are. It is though the very foundation on which our core values were built starts to shake. The energy around what we do is not adequate, and we feel doubtful. To be mentally tough and supported, we must live by our values. We cannot have a house without a foundation. In the same way, you cannot be yourself without your core values. Your values are the core of who you are deep within, and your thoughts and beliefs are the results of these values. They define who you are. Your values spring from your thoughts, and you then act in line with these thoughts through your actions. At that time, we might act either consciously or subconsciously. For you to ensure that you have a solid foundation, it is imperative that you find out what your foundation is built on. Dig deep within yourself to discover your values if they are not obvious. Examine your behaviors, the choice you made that got you where you are, and the way you live your life at the moment. What are the principles that guide the decisions you make? These are all your intrinsic values. Values are subject to change. After you have discovered your core values, you may then decide if these values work best for you or against you, or whether they are the values you desire or not. Sometimes we adopt the values of our community or those of our family. Our values get stronger with the passage of time. If we are living without values, then we are living in denial of who we are or who we desire to be, and every step in which values are vital. For some individuals, it is quite challenging trying to determine values, yet it is imperative to examine your values regularly, just like taking stock. You can start by writing down or drawing all the things you admire about your role model. But first, you need to know who your role model is and to identify what you admire about her. This list will show you what you value. In turn, it is your guiding principle and what you want to live by. The amazing thing about values is that we can let go of all other values so that our most important value is attained. Thus, if your core value is family, you may make rash and uninformed decisions to ensure you satisfy this value, i.e., you don't work extra time because you want to spend more time with your family, or you turn down a job offer that requires you to travel. As a result, somebody may complain that he is broke or gaining weight, never realizing the influence of their values. Purpose. Since you have identified your values, the next step is to discover your purpose. You may imagine this in line with the reason for your very existence or your thoughts about your life. Your purpose is very important as it serves as a compass for your life, and it enables you to reach your highest personal performance. Imagine going from one point to another without any directions. You might just be turning in circles. You may go up or down or turn left or right several times to find that the road leads nowhere. You repeat this routine a couple of times until eventually you find your way or give up. It may have taken you twice the amount of time to get somewhere, or you may never get to your destination. This route creates all sorts of negative doubts within us. Now assume you were exercising your mental strength. Knowing exactly the direction you are heading in, you may at times entertain some doubts as to the right path. However, you check in with your map, goal, and boom, you are back on track again. Your aim is crystal clear. You arrive at your destination faster than you imagined, and you are amazed. Who wouldn't be pleased? You may want to start by asking yourself what your purpose in life is and search out answers to this question. You also might create a mind map to understand your purpose. Start in the middle with the words, "My reason for living is." You may change the language to what most reflects this idea for you. Try to summarize your purpose into 2 words if possible, a verb and a noun. For example, a purpose might be enhancing beauty, challenging thoughts, supporting women, living passionately, creating value, valuing time, building frameworks, etc. After defining your purpose, it will feel just right. Tell some trusted companions and friends your goal and listen to their responses and views. Once you have clearly defined your purpose, everyone, including yourself, will see how perfectly it fits. So now you have a purpose in place. You need to have a few goals written down for you to achieve your purpose. If inspiring beauty is your purpose, then it will be reflected by your goals. Designing a range of products to inspire beauty may be your goal. As an individual, your purpose is like the heart of your identity and the passion in your life. You may compose a selection of poetry or write a book. As you can see, having a purpose around beauty inspiration can mean a lot to you, but you will be aware of what it means to you. It will be created by your own unique strengths. The next step to take is to make a list of the range of actions that you have to take to create the steps now that you have your goals. These actions need to be exact and very measurable. Drawing up 3 designs by a specific date could be an instance. They will be less difficult to achieve if they are more specific. As an individual, you will have long and short-term goals. How to build a set of purpose to aid in the development of mental toughness. The ways in which we all can grow, develop, and become tougher to achieve success is what toughness explores. The values listed below will turn your life around and are applicable to each and every one of us. Number 1. Work so hard that you have to take a rest. The world's most successful individuals preach about the importance of meditation and having a good night's rest. After we have put ourselves to a challenge and given every part of ourselves to work to achieve our daily goals, we all need to rest. Give your very best to every assignment before you. Also, give your parents, spouse, and children your very best. In all your opportunities and relationships, you should maximize your output. Number 2. Complete what you've started. One of the most well-known reasons why some individuals don't have a feeling of fulfillment in their personal and professional lives is very simple. They begin something and fail to finish it. Consider it. What is the point in doing that? Every high achiever's defining characteristic is that they complete what they have begun. They either achieve a task, reach a goal, or abandon a course for an alternative that is wiser and better. Number 3. Have focus and determination on the task at hand. While multitasking is extremely appealing, it does not work. Humans are wired to be monotaskers. Only about 2.5% of individuals have the ability to effectively multitask, as demonstrated by a study, and it is just an illusion when the rest of us try to simultaneously carry out 2 complex activities. When you focus with every ounce of concentration on what you are up to at that time, you are growing and becoming tougher. Number 4. Encourage yourself and encourage other people who work with you. Encourage the individuals around you. Celebrate their successes and congratulate them. This is advice straight out of the playbook written by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Guess what? Do the exact thing for yourself. Positive thought encouragement drives us to triumph and victory and allows us to power through adversity and demanding tasks. As an individual, you will continue to progress when you are genuinely self-motivated and encouraging to other people. And everybody wants to associate with that individual. You do not become a failure by failing. Failing makes an individual a competitor. Every competitor experiences failure. You will come up short sometimes if you lay it on the line. Failure is a part of competing, and grasping that fact is a vital part of toughness. Tough individuals are not failures, although they fail. Those individuals who give up or give in are the only failures. Number 5. Be alert to change in your life and change all around you. Change is the law of life, and individuals who look only to the past or present are sure to miss the future. Change is not avoidable. Even when we run, conceal, or grasp it, it is always coming for us, seeking us out. So be alert. Be alert to new opportunities. Be alert to ways you can develop on your successes and how to learn from your defeats. Number 6. Take responsibility for your words and actions. A surefire approach to fail is when you blame other individuals for your own words and actions, refuse to take ownership and make excuses, and deny responsibility and pass the buck to another person. Those are the characteristics of an individual with whom nobody wants to associate. And it would be wise for you to have this behavior corrected if you are seeking self-employment or entrepreneurship before you start any prospective venture. It begins with you. When responsibility is accepted in good and bad times, you will make tremendous strides in your lifetime. You persevere and continue to grow while other people falter. With the mindset of a winner, forge ahead. Winners are always tough and accountable for all their actions and statements. Number 7. Have the objective of getting better every day. In case you are having struggles with determining what your passion, purpose, mission, success definition, or goals are, please begin with this exceptionally simple objective. Get better each day. You have the time to do so. Read a chapter in a book to learn a skill that is new to you. In order to increase your cardiovascular fitness, jump rope for 10 minutes. Give 10 minutes of your time to mindfulness meditation that enables you to ponder clearly on what it is most important in your life. Keep a small journal entry about your emotions, what moves you, and what serves as an inspiration to you. Each of these activities takes a little amount of your time. With minimal investment, all of them can be achieved. And every one of them will start forming the compounding impact of helping you improve and get better every day. Among the happiest and successful individuals, toughness is one of the qualities that is most prized. Go on, you are so much tougher than you can imagine. Conclusion. Mental toughness is essential for performance excellence. It is one of the major factors that differentiate between athletes of different competitive levels. It can be learned, and the more an athlete faces tough times and gets more experience, the more he or she becomes mature and stabilized. Great people believe that they can reach nearly any goal, and this single belief activates a mental domino effect that keeps manifesting success after success. Literally, they think their way to the top of the echelon, yet 99% of them aren't smarter than you and me. You have to know what you are looking for. Mental toughness is your ticket to becoming one of the greats. If you've been helped in any way by listening to this audiobook, then I'd like to ask you to help me. Head on over right now to audible.com and leave me a review with what you liked about it. Thank you so much for your time and attention.